Electrical integrity checked. Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabrud's for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabrud's, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabrud's.com.
At Downtown Ford Sacramento, we're proud of our long heritage. We've consistently provided Ford cars and trucks to families and businesses in this region for over 100 years. If we think about it, practically every kid who grew up in this town at one time or another rode around in a Ford that we sold to their family. We've served multiple generations of local farmers and ranchers who got their rugged Ford trucks from us. We've also provided many of the emergency vehicles that you see out doing the people's work every day on the streets. All of us at Downtown Ford, from our top-notch service department who keep your Ford running like new, to our dedicated finance team and the guys and gals in our showroom, we thank you for generations of love and loyalty to us. And for that love, we say right back at you. We're doing Fords just like we always have. Come see us any day of the week or visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Hey, it's Grant Napear for Village Financial Group. I have known broker owner Spencer Grimmenstein for 25 years, ever since he began his family-owned business. Whether it's a home equity line of credit or buying or selling a home, Spencer is a very creative financing specialist with access to private money. Check out Village Financial Group at vfgloans.com or call Spencer at 916-805-4868. Be sure and call for the investor special. And if you go to their website, vfgloans.com, you can find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. Folks, Spencer is awesome. Trust me. Again, I've known the guy since 2000. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Call 916-805-4868.
The voice of Sacramento sports is back.
Hear Grant Napear every weekday beginning at 3 right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Grant's back, and here to win. It's the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Radio Sacramento. Now, Grant Napear.
Good afternoon, everybody. Boy, we have a lot to talk about on this show. The Kings, some roster moves, the NFL trade deadline, and some big moves in the National Football League. Jerry Reynolds coming on today at 4 o'clock. Sean Salisbury right after Grant's rant at 5 o'clock. And your phone calls, your text messages at 916-779-0929. We get to the most recent news first, as the Kings have officially announced the signing of Precious Achiuwa, and they have waived second-year man Isaac Jones. So Achiuwa, who was available most recently with the Knicks, prior to that Toronto, 26 years of age, certainly has more experience than Isaac Jones. I mean, he's had 320 NBA games. He has started in 72 of those games. Playoff experience in the last 2 years, 17 games. My question is, why is he available on the 4th of November? So that's my question. We'll talk more about that. The Kings defense is pathetic. I mean, it just is. And that's the main reason why they went out and made this move today, because they feel that Achua will help out this weak front line. But it's not just a weak front line defensively in the absence of Keegan Murray. It's a weak defensive team. And I got to tell you, I'm so tired of listening to Doug Christie talk about physicality and this and that. You know, you got to deal with reality here. Okay? And the reality is the only way that you are going to win games is the way you beat the Milwaukee Bucks. That's it. You're not winning a game any other way. I mean, it's not like the Kings played good defense against Milwaukee. I mean, they shot 60% for crying out loud, and they scored, 134 points? The Kings just had a beautiful offensive game. They moved the ball. They got big games from their top two scorers in DeRozan and Levine, and finally the best game of the year for Sabonis, Schroeder as well. That's the only way you're going to win, because you don't have a team that either can play defense or wants to play defense. In my opinion, I think it's a combination of both. That's what I think. I don't see the effort night in, night out on defense. I don't see it. Last night was an embarrassment. I mean, the Denver Nuggets were able to do whatever they wanted. Anytime they wanted to get to the basket, no problem. Anytime they wanted to make one pass for a wide open three, no problem. Anytime they came down in transition, they got a great shot, no problem. The game wasn't even, there was not one point during the game last night that I thought to myself the Kings could win or would win. The Denver Nuggets were toying with Sacramento. And then I'm enough with the cliches, enough with the nonsense, about, the physicality and the fight and all of that crap. All right, roll out the ball and tell the guys, I need you to score at least 130 tonight. That's it. You got to score. If we're going to win, you got to score 130 points. And then when Keegan comes back, maybe that number is 125. But right now, if you're going to win, you got to put 130 on the board, especially if you're playing a good team. That's how you win. That's your identity. Your identity is not defense. It will never be defense. When I say never, I'm talking about in this team. Okay, and if you think that Precious Achua is going to come onto the team and all of a sudden they're going to be defensive stalwarts, you're dreaming. Okay, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. This team is 2-5. They have a critical homestand starting tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors, who have lost 2 in a row all of a sudden, and they are in Phoenix tonight. So you're catching the Warriors at the end of a road trip on the second of a back-to-back, and then you play Oklahoma City, right? You've got some tough games on this trip. Minnesota with maybe Anthony Edwards. You've got Denver. You've got the next night Atlanta. I mean, this schedule is brutal. And then you go right back out onto the road. It's not a pretty picture right now. And I don't want to put too much importance on an early game in November, because I think that can be crazy, because it is an 82-game season. But let's just call it the way it is. If you lose, again, if you lose to the Golden State Warriors tomorrow, if you then have to play Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Denver, and the next night Atlanta, 3 games in 4 nights against the weakest team on this homestand. Then you go back on the road. Minnesota, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Memphis, Denver. I mean, other than tomorrow night, where you're going to get a tired Warriors team, and I'm not even going to include Atlanta because of 3 games in 4 nights, and the game at Memphis, you may not win any other games. And if you should lose tomorrow, okay, I could see an 0-5 homestand and a losing streak that extends on into the road. Now, I do think the Kings will win one of these games the same way they won in Milwaukee, because offensively, they're just going to click on one of these games and they'll catch a team that's not shooting the ball well, or they'll get to the line. So, I don't think they're going to lose all of them. But, I mean, if you want to be realistic about this, if you don't win tomorrow against the Warriors, you may you may win one of the next 4 games. And then on the road, you may win one of those 5 games. I mean, who are you going to beat? Who are you going to beat? So, again, I hate to put too much importance on a game in early November, but tomorrow's game is big. And this team defensively is a joke. It's a joke. I have a friend, 2 friends, that I was texting earlier today. They're both from Fort Collins, Colorado, and they're Nuggets fans. And we're on a group chat. And they have not watched the Kings play this year, but they're big Nick Clifford fans because he went to Colorado State and they have season tickets for Colorado State football and basketball. And they've only watched a couple of minutes here and there of the Kings. I mean, like, they haven't sat and watched the whole game. They both were, I mean, again, they don't know anything about the Kings other than Nick Clifford. And they said, that team, the Kings are awful defensively. And they said, that is embarrassing. And I'm just like, wow, that's the observation from 2 fans of the Denver Nuggets who watched the Kings play an entire game for the first time. And that was the first thing they said to me. Embarrassing. And so you tell me, are they just tuning out Doug Christie when it comes to playing defense? Because, again, that's all Doug talks about. And I'm sorry, but the Kings were not equal in the second, third, and fourth quarters last night, even though the scoreboard may tell you that. They gave up 39 points in the first quarter, and Doug addressed that on the postgame show, and he was 100% spot on. Can't happen. Okay? But it happened the game before against Milwaukee as well, but they were fortunate enough to come back and win that game. It can't happen. And there's a reason why it happens, and we know what the reason is, because it's a bad starting lineup, and it's a bad defensive lineup. And until you go to the bench, your defense doesn't improve. It's a bad starting lineup, and it's a tough way to win basketball games. But then he's talking about the rest of the game, and well, we were pretty equal with them. Anybody that watched the game last night would not make that statement, okay? The Nuggets were in control of the entire game. And not once, and I've watched thousands of basketball games, both as an announcer and a fan, not once, even when the Kings cut it to 2 or 3 in the third, after a pair of free throws by Zach LaVine, did I think that the Kings were going to win the game and be in the game. Because whenever Denver wanted to go on a run, they went on a run. And when Nikola Jokic was on the floor, it was a lopsided game. And as soon as he comes into the game changes. And if Denver had made even an average number of three-pointers on their wide-open shots, the game would have been a blowout. The game was not close. And defensively, the game was putrid. Just absolutely horrible. So the Kings, we'll see. Precious Achiuwa, the newest member of the Kings. They have also assigned rookie Max Reno to the G League Stockton Kings. All right, NFL real quickly. I think the Colts made the best move today. They're a team that is smelling February. I mean, they are. They're off to a good start, and they made a blockbuster deal. They get all-pro cornerback Sauce Gardner from the Jets. Now listen, it was a big deal. It wasn't cheap, all right? It wasn't cheap, but that's a big move by them. That's a big move by them. That gives the Colts a stud in Sauce Gardner. I mean, you can't say it any other way. He's one of the best in football. I love that move. Again, wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap. The Jets, I think, did great today. They get 2 first-round picks, all right? And then and I'm talking about the Jets, they trade their defensive tackle, Quinnen Williams, to the Cowboys, who are a lost franchise. Lost. Okay? And again, what do the Jets get back? Draft capital. The Cowboys send a 2026 second-round pick, a 2027 first-round pick, and defensive tackle Mozzie Smith. All right? So I love this move for the Jets. The Jets stink. The Jets aren't going anywhere. And so what do the Jets do? They end up with a whole bunch of collateral, a lot of draft picks coming up for the future, and the present is no longer in existence. All right? They ship two of their best players, let's be honest, both Gardner and Williams, and they get 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and 2 young players over the day. This is good. This is about time that the Jets are doing something right. Now, in all likelihood, they'll draft the wrong players, but, at least they're doing it right. I think it's a really good day if you're a New York Jets fan, because you have not had a lot to talk about if you're a fan of the struggling, horrible New York Jets. All right, let's talk about the Raiders, all right? Because all season long, all we've been hearing about, Jacoby Myers, gone, wants to be gone. He got his wish. He goes to Jacksonville. The Jaguars, in return, send a 4th and a 6th-round pick in next year's draft to the Raiders. The other team that was showing interest, according to multiple sources, were the Steelers. Now, one thing about Myers, he is a free agent after his contract is up this season. And he had said that he wanted to be traded. He wanted to be in a good spot. I don't know if Jacksonville is what I would call a good spot, but it's certainly better than the Raiders. And they've got a lot of injuries at the receiver position. So we'll see how that works out. But those are some of the big moves today in the National Football League. To me, the Cowboys are delusional. And last night, they looked lost, right? I mean, they looked terrible. And the reason why I say they're delusional is they have a owner who has lost his marbles. Plain and simple. He has lost his marbles. And if you want to call us, 916-779-0929 to talk about this, 916-779-0929. He's lost his marbles. I mean, plain and simple. I mean, you had Micah Parsons. You lost Micah Parsons, and say you lost him. You traded him. And you go off to a terrible start. Your team defense is terrible. Okay? Terrible. And one of the reasons why they're terrible is because you had arguably the best defensive player in football, or one of the best defensive players in football, and your ego got in the way of doing what is best for the franchise, and you made a deal. All right? So, like, if I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys today, and I'm trying to analyze, you know what? Quinnen Williams, good player. They picked up the linebacker from Cincinnati. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But, I mean, I don't know what the Cowboys are doing. I really don't. I don't know what the Cowboys are doing. So we can talk about that at 916-779-0929. Don't forget, Jerry Reynolds coming up at 4 o'clock to talk about the Kings. Let's get to a phone call or two, and let's say hello to Sam. Sam, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Graham?
Good, Sam.
Calling about the Precious signing today by the Kings. I'm just wondering what the hell the Kings are doing, releasing a young player in Isaac Jones and not releasing McDermott, who just rides the bench. I get releasing Sarge because he's a tradable contract. I just don't understand why we release a young talent in Isaac Jones.
All right, I'll let you take this off the air. You've got, it sounds like you're next to a big, like, grandfather clock. Tick, 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 tick. Well, I don't know what the Kings are doing. I haven't understood what the Kings have been doing for a number of years. So I can't really answer that question other than this. You know the motto, what do you have to lose? I mean, Isaac Jones, who I thought was really a promising note coming out of Summer League. Jerry Reynolds thought that he had a really bright upside. I didn't think he really got a good enough look in the early part of the season, but I'm not at practice, which I think does count. If you're Isaac Jones, I can't really comment on what's going on in practice because I'm not there. But they just felt that at this point in time, for what they need, is a better option. 1 year minimum deal. So I've always said this, you don't win and lose with the players at the end of your bench. Now, with that said, I mean, I got to believe that Precious Achiuwa, when I look at this roster currently, without Keegan Murray, is going to step in and, knowing how absurd the Kings lineups have been, it wouldn't surprise me to see him start. I got to be honest with you. It just wouldn't surprise me at all. And if not, he'll be the first big, along with Eubanks, off the bench. I know one thing, Doug's got to change the starting lineup. He just has to. This starting lineup is awful. It's so bad defensively that you can't continue to put him out onto the floor. You just can't. So when you ask me, you have no idea what the Kings are doing. I haven't had any idea what the Kings are doing over the last few years, because other than the draft pick of Nick Clifford, and I would say I'm not even going to comment on Max Reyno because it's not, he gets an incomplete right now. Other than the draft pick of Nick Clifford, and if I'm going back to last year and the premature trade of De'Aaron Fox, which I think in retrospect we can all agree that they would have been much better off to wait until the end of the season, I don't know what the heck they're doing. I really don't. I don't know what they're going to be doing. So, we'll see. They had to release Isaac Jones for money reasons because part of his contract was not guaranteed. So, they were able to free up money and create a roster space to sign Achiuwa. So we'll talk more about this when we come back. Next segment, I'll ask Rhino for his thoughts. Jerry Reynolds coming up at 4, Sean Salisbury at 5. And I want to tell you about Village Financial Group and their broker owner, Spencer, who I've known for 25 years. That's when Village Financial Group began their family-owned business. If you are selling your home, if you're in the market to buy a home, if you're looking for a home equity line of credit, I want to talk to you about Spencer and his experience. He is a financing specialist, very creative, and Spencer has access to private money. All you need to do is call or text Spence at 916-805-4868 and ask for the investor special as well at 916-805-4868. And if you check out their website, bfgloans.com, you'll find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Your phone calls, your text messages. I'll bring in Rhino next segment right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Looking for the perfect spot to watch the game and enjoy amazing food and drinks? Look no further than Fieldhouse American Sports Pub. Family owned and operated, Fieldhouse is passionate about creating a fun, welcoming atmosphere for everyone. Spice things up on Tuesdays with Taco Tuesday. Buy any order of our delicious tacos and get a refreshing margarita for just $6. On Wednesday, Fieldhouse features incredible drink specials. Enjoy $5 well drinks and ice cold pints all day long. Fieldhouse was voted the #1 sports bar in Sacramento. Tons of TVs, a mouth-watering menu, and daily specials. It's the perfect sports bar to catch all the action. Visit us today at 1833 Fulton Avenue. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, where the food is fantastic, the drinks are flowing, and the good times never stop. Fieldhouse, bring it to the house.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Don't forget to call the show, 916-779-0929. Jerry Reynolds to talk about the Kings 1-3 road trip and where they are right now in terms of the big picture. Rhino in Sacktown, your thoughts on what I talked about in the opening segment regarding the move today, the roster move, and the Kings defense. You're at practice when they're home almost every single day. You talk to the guys, the coaches. So give me your impressions.
Yeah, I understand the fans, just like Sam, who called in and say, why don't you release McDermott, Saric? Well, certainly money goes into that with Saric, but with McDermott, he brings a lot on the back end to this team. There's a reason they signed him early, so I don't expect him to be moving anywhere. As for IJ, I don't like giving up on a young guy. I think there was a lot being asked of him. He was asked to change positions in a short period of time. And it's kind of a right now move for a team that isn't a right now team. However, if Precious was 31, 32, 33, then I would probably be a little bit more harsh of it. He's 26 years old, Grant, and he's a guy that I tracked throughout the summer. And I'm like, why is he not landing anywhere as a free agent? And with the league right now being an offensive league, it's the offense for him. He's limited offensively, but defensively, he does a lot more than Isaac Jones can do. He has length. He's played a lot of those guys in the Eastern Conference, that your Giannis's, etc. He's played on the big stage, and more importantly, he's played under OG Anunoby and also Pascal Siakam in Toronto and in New York. And I think this is really a move, Napes, that is trying to balance out this roster. You don't need him to come in and do much for you offensively. You've got that. Now you've got that big guy that can play multiple positions on the perimeter and on the interior. And I don't disagree. He could very well walk straight into a starting lineup spot.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any question about that. Until Keegan Murray comes back, I could definitely see that, right? I mean, as you said, on this roster, when you talk about Levine and DeRozan and Sabonis and Schroeder, and then coming off the bench with either Westbrook or Monk or whomever, and Neek, you don't need his offense at all. He doesn't need the ball.
No, he does not. And he's another guy that can switch, which is a plus. I think he works decently besides Sabonis. He can protect the rim. He played a lot for Mitchell Robinson when he was hurt with the Knicks, and I don't think it's a bad move. Now, you do get that feeling in your gut because IJ's young, but I think you and I can both agree IJ was not on the same trajectory as a Keon Ellis. IJ was
Correct.
going to
Yeah, it's
take
not even close.
a little bit more
Okay.
time.
All right, so I have a question for you. If the Kings were high on him and he was available, then why didn't they have him come to training camp and fight for a job? In other words, if he was on their radar,
Yeah.
knowing full well, regardless of the Keegan Murray injury or not, the one thing that we all knew coming into this season was the Kings lacked size and they lacked defensive presence, blah, blah, blah. Everyone knew that. Everyone. It wasn't a secret. Why didn't they bring him in back in October and join the team in training camp?
Two reasons. The first is you weren't expecting Keegan Murray to go down, and you had your backup center in Drew Eubanks. And the second reason is I think the Kings really wanted to give IJ, because he was on a partially guaranteed contract, a good look throughout training camp. They wanted to see if he could be that guy that could fill those 7 to 10 minutes and get a decent sample size in practice of what he could do. And unfortunately, in games, he had some tough matchups. Lowry Markkanen did not look good, and Doug just didn't feel comfortable going back to him. So I think the Kings probably thought Precious would still be there if the IJ thing did not work out.
Okay, so they thought that he would still be there. And what does that tell you? Like, why would you made a good I talked about this yesterday. My experience, not 100% of the time, but most of the time. And I'm not even talking about age right now, although you bring up a good point. He's 26. Players that are available in the middle of the season, particularly those that are in the prime of their NBA career age-wise, players that are available a month into the season, there's a reason for that, okay? And we've gone through this with many moves. Jay Crowder, older, good point. Markelle Fultz, older. Doug McDermott, older. But there was a reason why they were available when the Kings picked these players up towards the back end of the season. What's the one thing that every team wants, right? They want a defensive, physical presence on the front line. Every team wants that. Even the teams that score want that. And yet here's a 26-year-old player who has started 72 games in his NBA career that on November 1st, now November 4th, was not on anyone's roster. And so I keep asking myself, why was the fact that 29 teams, with the exception of Sacramento, did not want him?
Well, Peter mentions this in the chat, and he's right. He did get signed to a training camp contract with Miami. Miami ultimately letting him go, and they waived him. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Yes, teams want that guy, but you only mentioned half of it. You mentioned the defense. They want the 3 on the other side of that, the 3 and D at that position. And Precious, quite frankly, doesn't give you the 3, but the Kings specifically need the D. Offense is not the problem. The D, getting multiple opportunities on the offensive end with rebounds, especially if you're going to have Sabonis out on the perimeter. Same thing defensively. He can play multiple positions. Kings have guys that you need to get involved. Zach LaVine, you don't get him very involved last night, and look what happens. You don't have to worry about that with Precious. He's just going to run the rim, and he's going to play defense. And I think that is the Kings are targeting in on exactly that.
All right, well, we'll see. The Kings and the Golden State Warriors tomorrow, folks, the start of a 5-game homestand. And when you look at what's going on right now in the NBA and you look at the standings, it's very interesting already, some trends. And again, I need 20 to 25 games, so I don't want to blow this out of proportion. But I didn't have the Spurs going 5-1 to start the season. I didn't have the Lakers going 6-2, especially with all the games on the injury list early in the season for the Lakers. I mean, they won last night in Portland. They beat the Blazers on the second night of a back-to-back after beating Miami, and they go up and beat Portland without Austin Reeves, without Luka Doncic. The former Blazer DeAndre Ayton went off and had a huge game. I expected Denver to be good. Houston, after the 0-2 start, has won 4 in a row. They're 4-2. Minnesota is hanging on. They've won 2 in a row without Anthony Edwards, and he's coming back soon. Portland, I thought, would be right there and be fighting for a spot come April. They're off to a good start at 4-3. The Warriors, to me, and I'm really looking forward to talking with the voice of the Warriors tomorrow, Tim Roy, because they're right now in a bad stretch, having lost to Milwaukee without Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then the Indiana Pacers, who were 0-5 when they went into town. The Clippers, to me, got problems. Phoenix and Utah, I mean, they're very respectable. You know, they're 3-4. They compete. They're in games. And I love the Jazz point guard and George. I mean, every time I watch that guy play, Keanu George, he's really good. I mean, he's really, really good. The Jazz, to me, they're not a doormat anymore. The doormat are the Pelicans and Zion Williamson. Shocking news for the 0-6 Pelicans. Shocking news. I know this is really hard to believe, but Zion Williamson is going to be out of action for a while with a hamstring. I mean, that's shocking because the guy never gets hurt. So you can just cross them off. They're done. And then the Mavs, right? The Dallas Mavericks are 2-5. And the Mavericks are very similar to me with Sacramento in this sense. They're waiting for some players to come back, and they're hoping that they are not buried. All right. They've been without Derek Lively. I mean, he is a really important part of what they do. Dante Exum, Anthony Davis. I know that shocking, okay, that he got hurt. And we know about Kyrie Irving, who I believe it was, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, had spoken about Kyrie Irving and the report that he was ahead of schedule in his recovery. And Jason Kidd said that that's not true. So I don't know when or if Irving's coming back. And if so, I don't even know if you can really count on him. But the Mavs, to me, are in kind of right now in a tough Western Conference. They are in survival mode, and they're just waiting to get some of their bodies back on the floor. But if you're going to look at this schedule early on and you look at the standings, certainly they expected to be in a better position through 7 games than where they are, tied with Sacramento at the bottom of the Western Conference, with the exception of New Orleans. So the Pelicans, another miserable season. But now when all of a sudden, when you're playing Phoenix and you're playing the Jazz, as the Kings have already found out, you need to be ready to go. And then there's the Memphis Grizzlies, and I'm going to talk about that mess in the next segment, and the absolute unprofessional head case, who's Ja Morant. The guy's a disgrace. That's coming up next. The Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports Traffic as we take our first look at the roadways for this Tuesday afternoon. We got an accident on the Cap City Freeway eastbound right at Watt Avenue. It is off to the shoulder, but you got stop-and-go traffic pretty much from Arden Way, El Camino Avenue area up into that scene, so give yourself that extra time through there. US 50 also starting to see some heavy rush hour delays in between 59th Street and I-5. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant addiction. They can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. This holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the company of family and friends and create special moments. Find a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. Looking for the best happy hour in town? Head to Bennett's, where every day from 2 to 6, you'll find flavor, fun, and serious value. Enjoy over 10 wines by the glass, country club style cocktails like lemon drops, skinny margaritas, and crave-worthy share plates. Short rib tacos, chicken wings, calamari, and more, starting at just $6. It's upscale without the uptight. 3 locations, Roseville, Rockland, and Sacramento. Join us today or check out the menu at bennettsrestaurants.com.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods. G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabroods.com.
Business owners, Grant Napier's back, bringing Fox Sports Radio to the forefront of sports talk in Sacramento. That means more listeners, more potential customers who could be spending money for your products and services. This is Kurt Bagelman, General Manager for Fox Sports Radio in Sacramento. Grant's back, and his return is an opportunity for your business. Listen, the sports talk audience is a target-rich group of consumers. 80% are employed. Nearly 60% earn six-figure incomes. 67% own their homes. Take advantage of the attention Grant's return has generated to tell people where to spend their money. This is a unique opportunity to increase your sales right now. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great commercial message heard by sports fans could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 779-0914. Radio and Grant get results, and we are here to help. Call 779-0914.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
From the 631, the reason Precious was let go from the Knicks, I believe, was salary cap considerations. They had signed two new players. Well, that may be true, but not all 30 teams in the NBA had salary cap issues where they wouldn't be able to sign a player that had upside. And again, I'm not saying that he can't play. I'm just saying my experience in covering the NBA is that when a player who particularly is 26, who plays a position of need, is no longer, or excuse me, who is available once the season starts, then it makes me raise my eyebrows. It makes me raise my eyebrows. All right, before we get back to some phone calls, the Memphis Grizzlies are 3-5, and they are a sinking ship. They're the Titanic. They have lost 3 in a row, and they have the biggest head case, the unprofessional Ja Morant, who was just suspended for the game in Toronto on Sunday for conduct detrimental to the team. In his first game back last night after losing to the Detroit Pistons, this is how he answered questions from the reporters in the Memphis locker room.
You and the coaching staff able to talk about what happened Friday and move on?
Y'all asked that question to them, huh?
What about for you?
Y'all asked that question, so y'all know the answer to that.
Do you feel like everything's been resolved?
Yeah. They told y'all that, right?
Well, yeah, but we didn't hear it from you.
Obviously, they can't go and tell y'all something I ain't say.
You feel like you get the same joy right now that we used to see?
No.
Why not? What can be done to get it back?
We'll see.
Do you think you have a good relationship with the franchise?
Yeah.
In general?
Yeah. They told y'all that, right?
I didn't say anything about that.
If I had a good relationship, I wouldn't talk to him at all. So, and we had our combos over these.
Do you have any regrets about the way you played on Friday night in the second half?
You said what?
Do you have any regrets about the way you played in the game? I'm not talking about the
That's your home run question? Sound like a bait question.
Here's the deal with Ja Morant. Here's the question I would have asked. Ja, why are you being so unprofessional as the best player on this team? Why are you being so unprofessional? That would have been my question. The guy's an idiot. And as far as rumors go, and I think they're very limited about Morant coming to Sacramento, which is not going to happen. I mean, you'd have to be out of your freaking mind to have John Morant on your basketball team. And I made this comment 2 days ago, and I'll say it again. Memphis will have a new coach before Thanksgiving. Let's get to Corn Dog. What's up, buddy? You're on with Grant Napear.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on John Morant. The talent is there, but this guy would just totally blow up our roster because we have a lot of guys that are core guys that honestly seem to get along pretty well. Keegan, Sabonis, they seem they're pretty level-headed. They just, they do what they do. They don't want to, be all antagonistic. They want to play ball. And John Morant's a total nutcase. I think he'd throw a giant wrench into that whole operation.
No question. No question.
And
what
then,
else you want to talk about?
And then last night, it was Jokic was Jokic. Like, he was hitting everything he could want, and we just couldn't have an answer for that.
Yeah, but you didn't. But the dribble penetration by Denver was all game. Wide open threes all game. Where's the effort on defense? I didn't see any effort on defense last night, with the exception of a couple of individual plays here and there. But by and large, over a 48-minute, the best defense I saw last night was by Neat Clifford at the end of the third quarter on Jamal Murray, who hit a really difficult shot. That was the best defensive sequence I saw by any King on the floor last night, but they were few and far between.
Yeah, the defensive leadership without Keegan Murray is really, really lackluster on this team.
It's terrible.
It really shows why he got the contract he deserved, why we always put him on the best player. And he's amazing at 3-and-D. And, yeah, his scoring went down because we have him defending the best player. But I think it's worth it because we have a lot of scorers.
No question. No question about it. Absolutely. So your Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets let you down on your season-long prediction.
You know what? I'll say this. If you would tell me before the game that Haynes King would have 300 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, I would have bet the house on them.
Yeah. Well, that's college football, with the exception of Ohio State. Just and Indiana, they just keep winning and winning and winning.
Yeah, well, at least Georgia Tech's still not out of the ACC race. I believe if they win out, they can still get in and play Virginia in the title with Miami losing.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. A couple more weeks left. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your call.
All right.
Take care. All right. Bye-bye. Said, Grant, you've been part of the NBA forever on the text line from the 916. Can you tell me why Levine and DeRozan have to start? Is it a money thing, ego thing, politics thing? Wouldn't it make sense to send one to the bench and run a lineup out like Schroeder, Keon, Levine, Precious, and Domas? Swap Precious for Keegan when he returns. Wouldn't that give more balance of defense between the starters and bench? It's Kurt. Well, I think it's a very good question. I think it is a fair question. And I believe that this lineup cannot continue. I mean, I've seen it enough. It just doesn't mesh. As far as Levine and DeRozan, I think politics does come into it. But I know one thing, if I'm coaching a team, and I know that this is the only NBA head coaching job that I'm ever going to have, I'm coaching a team the way I want to coach it, and I don't give a damn what my owner says or what my general manager says. Doesn't matter. I'm coaching. They're not coaching, and if they don't like it, too bad. That's how I would handle it. I mean, you see the starting lineup and how they play in the first quarter on almost, every game, and particularly on this road trip, and how bad defensively they've been. It can't continue. And now all of a sudden you think you're going to bring in Precious to chew and you're going to go and change everything? You're not going to change everything. And that's not even the biggest issue with this defense. The biggest issue with this defense is dribble penetration. Not your guards can't stay in front of their man unless it's Keon Ellis. All right? They just can't. and they don't. They're just, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible, plain and simple. I mean, it's not even okay. It's terrible. And so, listen, can Precious Achua make the defense better? Yeah, of course he can. Yes, of course he can. But if your guards don't defend better, then you got real problems. You have real problems. Hey, if you have real problems with your HVAC, well, I've got an answer for you. DAS Mechanical, HVAC retrofit and service specialist, family owned, locally serving Sacramento and Placer counties, ideal for homeowners, businesses, for commercial maintenance. And remember, if you do need a new HVAC system, they have a lot of options for you when it comes to financing, including 0% interest for 18 months. And should you be in that department where you're like, I'm got a remodel, got a retrofit, they're going to keep you up to date on every single thing when it comes to your HVAC unit. So you will know every step of the way. Give them a contact by going online, okay? dasmechanical.org. D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org. dasmechanical.org. And remember, right now until the end of November, a $69 winter maintenance checkup. So take care of that. Get ready for the winter months and the cold, which is coming up right around the corner. dasmechanical.org. Book online, and don't forget to look at their 5-star reviews, which are numerous, and the many Best of the Best awards. That's DAS Mechanical, HVAC retrofit and service specialist, again, serving Sacramento and Placer counties. Check it out, dasmechanical.org. Rhino, I want to get your take on what we just heard from Morant. This is a guy that got the bag of cash, who is the point guard, which is the quarterback of a team, who is, I think we would agree, the best player on the team. His unprofessionalism, his mood, his demeanor is, I made this comment on X this morning. To me, currently, he's the most unprofessional player in the NBA. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
It's unbelievable.
Hands down.
Isn't it?
Yeah. It's not even close at this point. I mean, it almost borders. Can you remember any other players in the past that have acted this unprofessional with the history that Ja has?
Yeah, I mean, there are players that have acted very unprofessionally. I mean, it's not like he's in a class all by himself, but in the class that's currently constructed in 2025, I think he is in a class by himself. But over the years, no. But yes, clearly.
I think Memphis should have come into this season and had this handled. I would have shopped him, and maybe they did in the offseason. I think you knew enough coming off of last year that this experiment was getting ready to totally blow up. It's already fizzled over, but now it's ready to pop.
Yeah, and they're going to have a new coach here, I think, before Thanksgiving. I think they're going to have a disaster of a week or two coming up. I think the pressure is going to be too much on the organization. And as you say, you can't fire the entire team. So the coach, who is falling out of favor clearly with Morant, and I think some other guys on the team, they are going to be going in a new direction here real soon.
And the fans cheered Ja Morant last night too.
Yeah, which I don't understand. And so that's another reason why I think the coach is going to go, because basically they're picking sides and they're defending Morant over their coach. And that's just a joke. It's a joke. Plain and simple. There's no other way to say it. It's embarrassing.
Well,
it's embarrassing.
You brought up Memphis possibly, if this continues to go downhill, being up for relocation when their lease comes up.
Absolutely.
It's just not a good look right now, both basketball-wise and fan-wise.
That place will be one quarter full in a couple of weeks for their home games. If this slide continues, and currently, in my opinion, the only thing that's going to turn around this, because I don't think you can trade Morant right now, I don't think anybody wants him, is to get a new coach in there. Because the one thing I would say in watching Memphis and reading some of the stories that are coming out of Memphis, their offense it makes no sense. And the players clearly don't want to play it. The offensive system and that falls directly on the shoulders of the head coach and his offensive system. So I don't see this lasting. And again, I really believe this. I think they're probably 2 losses away, 3 losses away at the most from firing their coach. He'll be gone before Thanksgiving, in my opinion.
I mean, they still have some good parts. Jalen Wells, Jaren Jackson Jr. It's not all lost in Memphis, but definitely needs a major rehab.
Yeah, there's no question. Don't forget the Kings tomorrow taking on the Warriors. Tim Roy tomorrow, the voice of the Golden State Warriors, will join me. Tonight in the NBA, in addition to Golden State and Phoenix, okay, you've got Milwaukee, Toronto, Orlando, Atlanta, Philly, Chicago, Charlotte, New Orleans, and Oklahoma City and the LA Clippers. My bad, by the way, okay? I was under the impression that the game tonight with the Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns was in Phoenix. It's my bad. The game is in Golden State. So they got back from their road trip. They've been ready to acclimate to the Pacific time, and that makes it easier tomorrow in their back-to-back against Sacramento. So my bad. I don't know why I looked at the schedule and thought that game was at Phoenix. That game is in San Francisco at Golden State.
Grant,
so my bad.
Will the Warriors still come tonight to Sacramento after the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I believe they will. We'll ask Tim Roy tomorrow. My experience is yes. But, I'm not Steve Kerr. I don't know how they handle things. But generally speaking, yes, they will come tomorrow or come tonight after the game. They would get here roughly. They would pull into the hotel downtown roughly at midnight. So I think that's what they'll do. Yes. Yep. I'm trying to think in recent. Yeah, we always used to leave on a back-to-back again, but I'm not Golden State. I was with Sacramento. We always used to leave if it was a back-to-back after the game. Always. So, yeah, I do think that would be the case. Don't forget, Jerry Reynolds is coming up in a couple of moments. We'll get his take on what's going on with Sacramento. 5 o'clock, Sean Salisbury. A lot to talk about at the NFL trade deadline with Sean. And again, some big moves. And I think the Colts are the biggest winner for this year. They get a big-time player, all right? A big-time player in their defense, one of the very best in the National Football League. And when I'm looking at the Colts, who are already 7-2, when you pick up Sauce Gardner, yeah, you gave up some capital in the draft, but you're trying to win this year, and they feel that the table is set. 2-time All-Pro cornerback Sauce Gardner is now a member of the Indianapolis Colts. But next segment, we're going to talk more Sacramento Kings, more NBA, with the one and only Jerry Reynolds. And then coming up an hour later, after Grant's rant, Sean Salisbury. Your phone calls as well, 916-779-0929. Busy day on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take another look at the roadways, getting a little bit busier throughout the Sacramento area. Still working that earlier accident on the off ramp from Cap City Freeway eastbound to Watt Avenue. That exit ramp is now closed. You got heavy delays on the approach to it from Arden Way as you make your way to that exit ramp, so give yourself that extra time. I-5 northbound, also very sluggish from Sutterville Road as you make your way to about El Camino Avenue. Give yourself extra time. With Twice an Hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
The statewide special election is November 4th. All voters will receive a ballot in the mail and have several options to return their ballot conveniently, including a postage-paid envelope. You can also vote in person at any vote center and have access to your ballot in an accessible format, as well as receive assistance in multiple languages. Be sure to vote early and avoid the lines. Learn more at elections.saccounty.gov or call toll-free 1-800-762-8019.
Need new tires? Now through November 30th, save $100 instantly when you buy a set of 4 Bridgestone Weatherpeak tires. Save $70 instantly when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires, or buy a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires and save $60 instantly. Only at Express Tires. Express Tires, 7215 Watt Avenue. Offer valid November 1st through November 30th, 2025. Cannot be combined with other offers. See store for details.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabroods.com.
Tell your friends. Grant's back. Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst. K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
All right, the second hour of the show, the Kings and the Warriors tomorrow to start a 5-game homestand. The Warriors at home tonight to take on the Phoenix Suns. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to have a couple of moments with Jerry Reynolds coming up here when he calls or when we call him in just a little bit. So, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We got a lot to talk about Sean Salisbury in 1 hour. And don't forget, we take your phone calls at 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. Somebody said, Grant, I missed your show yesterday. I wanted your opinion on how this year's World Series ranks in your years at baseball. Not a baseball guy myself, but only the Yankees D-back series after 9/11 was there as much drama in a World Series. This one felt terrible for Toronto, played outstanding. For somebody that has been turned off by the way the game of baseball is played, and I didn't watch every inning of every game, and I didn't watch every game, but the games that I did watch, the extra inning game, I watched from about the 8th inning on. The game 7, I watched from the 6th inning on, and some other games here and there. It was clearly one of the best World Series that I have ever seen. All right? It was one of the best World Series that I have ever seen. I mean, it was truly a classic. All right? Truly a classic. I mean, it was as good as it gets. I can't remember a better World Series than what we just had. I really can't. I was trying to think about this yesterday, and quite frankly, I can't think of a more dramatic World Series than we had with Toronto and the Dodgers. I mean, it was unbelievable. Plain and simple, it was unbelievable. So if you want to call the show, 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. right here on the Grant Napear Show. So as soon as we get in good contact with Jerry Reynolds, we'll put him on, and then we'll talk some football in the final hour of the show, go over the NBA schedule for tonight, preview the game tomorrow with the Warriors, the homestand, Precious Achua, all of that coming up on the final 2 hours of the show. And, of course, your phone calls and text messages at 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. From the 631, I'm going to be rooting for Precious, to be honest. Well, good. You should root for him if you're a Kings fan. All right, the one and only Jerry Reynolds to talk about the current state of the Kings and what lies ahead and some of the moves today. Jerry, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon, Grant. Pretty good. Everything's pretty good. Just kind of really excited about the newest signing. I would assume that it will lead to many, many victories.
and the best defensive team in the NBA, right, Jerry?
Well, that's one thing about it. I don't know just exactly what he will bring, but he can't hurt the defense.
Yeah, he can hurt the defense. That's a great point. I mean, the defense last night was horrifying. It was just pathetic. And that's been really the identity of this team, not just this year, but over the last few years, just a poor defensive team. And I know it leaves the fans scratching their heads. Like, why is it that regardless of the coach, regardless of the players, this team, by and large, is a poor defensive team? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is always a little hard to wrap your head around. I mean, I know they have individuals who aren't particularly good defensively, but they have some good defenders like Keon Ellis and, of course, Keegan Murray when he's available. Those guys are well above average defensive players. But probably the truth is, just on an individual basis, the rest of the guys who play a lot of minutes really are probably below average.
Yeah. Do you have a problem with the makeup of this team currently?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's. I mean, that's the problem I've got with it. It's too small and too old. And I think offensively it's a very good team. I mean, I think the numbers prove that. This is a team that can score. If you average 118 points a game, you ought to be able to win. That should be enough to win. And they're fairly productive. But defensively, as you pointed out, I mean, they're just simply, you're not going to win giving up 130 every night. And that just puts too much pressure on the offense. And so, just when you're playing four guards and Sabonis, even though he's an unbelievable rebounder for his size, but he's undersized really for a center to some degree. So you've got, it's just too small. It's just too small.
Do you think that the too small or their age is the bigger problem right now?
Well, I'd say the age is the bigger problem going forward because, we've talked about it in the past before is that, let's say at 30 games, if you're, say, 12 and 18 or something like that, well, clearly that's not heading the right direction. And your team that's old is not going to get younger. There's no reason to believe that guys in their mid-30s or beyond are going to improve going forward. So you clearly have got a problem. Now, I mean, that's the way I would see it. And it's always tougher to make good deals, as far as trades with older players. When you want to get younger, it's harder to do by, not many teams want to trade good younger players or 25, 6 years old for 30 somethings. That's not my rule. It's always been that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jerry, when you watch the Kings, when Keon Ellis is not on the floor, and I won't even include Devin Carter because he hasn't been on the floor long enough to really even count him. So for this question, I'm going to leave him off the floor. When Keon Ellis is not on the floor, do you think the biggest problem with the Kings defense is from out front and their inability to keep the ball in front of them? It just seems that in the games, whether it was Chicago or last night or Oklahoma City. It just seems teams, even Utah with George, and they can get past their defender and penetrate and then do whatever they want. Finish, kick out. Is that the biggest issue with this team?
I think it is. I really do. I would agree with that. I mean, I think that, when you can't stay in front of your man, then it puts all the pressure at the basket. And certainly probably Domas's weak point. He's not a shot blocker. I mean, I think he's one of the elite centers, but I mean, you could have Wilt Chamberlain back there, and at some point he's going to foul out. So yeah, I really do think that in a nutshell, if you said, well, what is the biggest problem? It's just simply defending the on the perimeter with the guards and wings, because there's just simply too much dribble penetration or cuts. I notice that the Kings playing a little more zone, and I think that's a good thing. But you can't just get beat on cuts either as much. So yeah, I just see it as right now, Coach Christie and his staff. I mean, to me, they're on the right track offensively, and defensively,
Agreed.
it's just not. They're just not good enough.
Okay, so the reason why they're not good enough, is it the individuals or is it the lineups that are being put together? Let's talk about the starting lineup, in particular, the last two games. I mean, they're giving up almost 40 points in the first quarter, and I know they got very fortunate to win at Milwaukee, but that is a really difficult obstacle to overcome night in, night out. So what about changing the starting lineup, Jerry?
Well, I mean, I think at some point that they would need to do that. I mean, I'm just one of those people that think they're find out a way to get Keon Ellis on the floor more, for the reason being he's a good defender on a team that needs good defenders, and he's a good 3-point shooter, and he can really shoot the three, and he's a ball mover, not a ball stopper, and so to me, that in my mind, that means, I guess, from just as my fandom position, the more he plays more minutes and maybe less minutes for DeRozan, and in particular, and maybe Levine a little bit. I mean, I think Zach overall has been awfully good. He's never going to be a defensive stopper, but he's so efficient offensively. You got to take that into account too. And
can you talk about the dynamic, because you've been a coach before, although it was in a different era where you didn't have as many voices. I mean, you worked with Greg Lukenbill as a coach, and you had really a front office that was one person or two at the most. But the point is, it's a completely different situation now with the pressures from social media and everything. And so I'm going to lead this to my question, because it is a different era. Doug Christie is an inexperienced head coach, okay? Doesn't mean that he can't be successful. At some point, you had your first job as a coach. I mean, at some point, you become an inexperienced coach when you move over 18 or whatever inches it is to sit in that big chair. And I believe this is the only time that he will be an NBA head coach. And you have a meddling owner. You have a general manager who, in my opinion, did not hire the coach. The dynamic for him is not ideal. And yet you've always said, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've always given advice to coaches. At the end of the day, you better coach the way you want to coach, because you're the coach. And if you lose your job, you don't want to be thinking, gee, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have done it my way, I should have done my way. Coach the team the way you want. Would that be your advice for Doug, or do you think that's too complicated?
No, I think that's exactly the. I mean, it really cuts through the complications, because as a coach, you're going to get, basically extended or fired based on somebody's opinion of whether it's wins and losses. And at the end of it, you might as well do it your way. And I mean, I do think you're exactly right. It's so different today with so many people in the front office, so many, coaches you have, which have different opinions, ownership, basically every team, a coach is getting getting kind of attacked or given opinions and stuff from all directions, including social media and things. So to me, just to simplify it, say, hey, you're the coach them, and it's up to your staff to go along with your decisions and try to make it work as best you can, because that's how it's going to play out. You might as well have a clean conscience, however it works out for you.
Yeah, Jerry Reynolds joining us right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Jerry, I don't want to go overboard and talk about tomorrow's a must-win, because I don't believe there are must-win games on the 5th of November. But when I look at where the Kings are now at 2-5, still without their best defensive player, and they play Golden State tomorrow, then Oklahoma City. It looks like Anthony Edwards could be back for the Sunday game. Then Denver, followed by Atlanta the next night. 3 games in 4 nights, the second of a back-to-back. Then on the road at Minnesota, at San Antonio, at Oklahoma City, the next night at Memphis, and then end the road trip in Denver. I mean, tomorrow's game is huge, in my opinion. I'm telling you, Jerry, if they lose this game tomorrow, I don't see a lot of wins the rest of the way. And just in terms of confidence, feeling good, I mean, you got to figure out a way to win this game tomorrow.
Yeah, you do, and I mean, I think they can. Because the Warriors are a lot like they are, in the sense that they're better offensively than they are defensively.
Yes,
and so it's, in my mind, it's a winnable game. But as you pointed out, I think the tough thing, and I've been there as a coach, you're looking ahead to your schedule and saying, now which team are we playing that we have more talent than?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you really get to evaluate, you're looking at Oklahoma City and these teams, you're thinking, whoa, we these teams, if they play their best and we play our best, they win.
Right.
Now, what you're hoping for is you play your best and they don't play their best. And that's, quite honestly, when you're the kind of the inferior team, you can still win the NBA, but it basically has to be on that basis to where you're catching them looking ahead or guys out or you know what I mean? Just as you know, sometimes the schedule wins you games.
Jerry, I don't want to, put the guy as the greatest player of all time, but I'll never forget when we were together and we announced the first game that LeBron James ever played. And you said in the third quarter, I believe, that barring injury that would affect his career, that we may be looking at a guy that goes down as the greatest player of all time. That's still debatable, but you can't have the conversation and not include him. Do you get the same impression when you watch Victor Wembanyama play with the Spurs?
I do. And I mean, and of course he's got a lot of things you have to prove, but he really is a one of one. There's never been anybody quite like him, a 7'4" guy that really has guard skills, maybe to a fault, I've never seen anybody like him. And that was kind of like LeBron, 6'8", 18-year-old that had the athleticism of a Jordan and the size of Magic,
Yeah.
And of course his career, whether a lot of people don't like him, and I can understand that, but he's got every record there is. So you can't a lot of championships, so you got to give him his due. But Wembanyama, the only thing he's got to prove, can he lead a team, to be a contender at least? It's reasonably soon. This is his third year, and
but he's only 21.
He hasn't played
Jerry.
in the playoff game yet. Yeah, I know. No, I think he's going to do it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think. I mean, in my mind, you don't put him with LeBron or Jordan or those guys or Kareem yet, but I think you will be putting him with those guys within a reasonable time frame.
Jerry, I did a rant on this morning that I think John Morant is the most unprofessional player currently in the NBA. And the impression I get, and I don't know John Morant, I've never talked to him, but I'm looking at his body language. I'm listening to the way he conducts interviews. He obviously doesn't care about his image. I mean, you talk about unprofessional for the point guard of your franchise, which is the guy's the best player. This is unbelievable to me. I mean, how unprofessional he is acting.
Well, he's just destroying his own career, and he's been doing that now for about 3 years. It's a shame, within the second or third years in the league, he was kind of in the same category or had the potential to be a Luka or a Anthony Edwards or one of those guys. And where is he now? Well, he's went backwards, and certainly the suspensions and I think is somehow or another really fallen in love with kind of the wannabe gangster kind of thing. And it just doesn't fly. It just doesn't work in the NBA. It's not gonna work. And now I'm just not sure how good he is anymore. I think he's lost a lot.
Really?
Due to
Wow.
injuries.
In what ways?
Yeah, well, he isn't as quick and athletic as he was, and his shooting has not gotten a bit better, and that still was his weak point. And when you can't really penetrate the ball as well, that means you got to shoot it more. and he's, his numbers just when you look at them the last few years, they're down. And that's I've always thought that he's a little bit like Derrick Rose without the attitude and the classiness that Derrick had. His game was built on just superior athleticism, just unbelievable. Derrick was just breathtaking, and this kid was too. But when injuries start settling in, and that all of a sudden their athleticism is just really good instead of unbelievably great, then the game gets hard.
Jerry, I have shocking news.
Quick.
I have shocking news for you. Of course, we know that Anthony Davis injured his calf a couple of days ago, and now Zion Williamson is out at least a week or so with a hamstring. Shocking development that both Duncan and Williamson early in the season are unavailable for duty.
Now that is a jolt. I mean, Zion, for those guys you just count on playing 80 games a year, just trot him out there, just put him in the lineup, kind of like the captain, Derek Jeter, put him in the lineup. But,
absolutely.
Zion,
I think they need to go for walks with you. Yeah. I think they need to go for walks with you. I think that would help them out.
It's a shame, isn't it? Really, that is one of the, just going back to Michael Jordan's little comments the other day about load management. I really thought that need to be said, how, with injuries as they are, when guys getting hurt, and I think maybe trainers are a little more careful when they miss so many games anyway. Why would you, and load management to go with it? It's like, boy, at some point, you've got some obligation to get your butt out there and play for the fans that are paying for your salary.
Yeah, I thought Michael's comments were great. Here's the other deal. The NBA has bent over backwards to make it easier on the players. No more 4 games in 5 nights. Sometimes you go to a city and you park yourself there and play 2 games instead of playing 1 game and then coming back later in the year. You don't have as many back-to-backs. The travel, the airplanes are much better. I mean, it's just everything is being done for the players, and we still looking at all of this going on. It's just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's one thing I sound, like a old curmudgeon, but it's still true. It's when I came to the league, you flew commercial, and you had to take the earliest flight out the next day for another game. You didn't really stay in the Four Seasons in the top level hotels. There's a lot of, Holiday Inns and Marriott's. It's just the way it was. And then plus, your training staff was limited usually to 1 trainer. And players had to take care of their own uniforms and stuff for the most part on the road and their own luggage.
Right.
Most teams had 2 assistants. We just had 1 at those days, but nobody had more than 2. And so my sympathy factor is pretty low for these guys. I do think sometimes you got so many people involved in the training process that
it's ridiculous.
That they almost make it worse. That they're looking for reasons. And we've talked about this. We've talked about this before. I get so mad. So when you hear about so and so's, he's back, but he's on a minutes restriction. It's like he could only play 20. Does that mean at 21 would his legs fall off? Exactly. What's the penalty? What's the penalty? And I know for a fact, I don't care. I mean, I know for a fact they don't know. They're just throwing out a number. They can't know that he can only play 20 minutes. Are you kidding me?
Hey, Jerry, I want to let you know that there was a benefit for us not staying at the 5-star hotels when the Kings moved and I joined the team in '88. The beers at the hotel bar were much cheaper at the places we stayed than if we were at a Four Seasons or a Ritz-Carlton. So you got to look at the positives.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you could even get, happy hours and stuff like that, or 2-for-1s. That was the advantage. Of course, the disadvantage was having Greg Ostertag charge his bar bill to me, but that's
yeah. Hey, that would been good.
Yeah, I had to nip that in the bud. But,
oh my gosh!
The other thing, one other thing that players got it so much better. And I was talking to somebody today about it, and players today, let's say, people say, well, they're playing 35, 36 minutes, and is that hard on the guy? I say, no, it's less hard than it used to be, and I'll tell you why. Because there's about 4 breaks that didn't used to be there for the instant replay crap.
Yep.
For a player now, he's getting to rest about an extra 8 minutes every game that players didn't used to. Because it didn't exist. So a guy playing 30, why can't he play 36 minutes? Yeah. He's getting extra breaks in there. I think people sometimes forget that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Anyway,
Jerry, I appreciate it. It's always good to talk to you. And
it's great talking to you, and I got it all out of my system, so I won't have to yell at any kids to get off the lawn now. I'm pretty good.
That's good.
Pretty
all right,
good
we'll talk to you tomorrow on the. We'll talk to you tomorrow after the game over on our YouTube channel. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and evening.
I will. I'll be looking forward to talking to you and Ryan, and tell Ryan I'm doing my prep work for now. So
yeah,
I'll be ready.
I appreciate that. That's good. All right, good stuff. Jerry Reynolds, good stuff.
You, bye.
Yep, see you, Jerry. He's the best. What a treasure. What an absolute treasure. All right, phone calls 916-779-0929 when we come back on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take another look at the roadways. Very busy throughout the Sacramento area. Still working that earlier accident on the off-ramp from Cap City Freeway to Watt Avenue. That ramp remains closed down. You got heavy delays as people try to navigate through that exit ramp, so give yourself that extra time. You're pretty much backed up from US 50 to Watt Avenue. Heavy delays on I-5 along with US 50, so give yourself that extra time. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Traffic brought to you by Gabroods Electrical. Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, and always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues with Gabroods. GUBRUDS.com.
Cameron, I just think we need to, see other people.
Are you trading me in?
No. A trade-in is what I'm getting from Kitchen Mart.
A trade-in?
Right now, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 credit when you trade in your old kitchen countertops for something worth showing off, like granite, marble, or solid surface.
I'm not worth showing off?
Not like the stunning new quartz countertops Kitchen Mart just installed for Karen and Tom.
Huh.
Durable, easy cleanup, made their kitchen look brand new. And Kitchen Mart gave them a $750 trade-in credit to haul off their ugly old tile and grout countertop.
You're dumping me.
That's harsh. You want me to wait till I get the new countertops from Kitchen Mart?
At least hold off till Wednesday. I'm seeing Susan.
Susan!
Now's the perfect time to trade up to beautiful new quartz, granite, marble, or solid surface countertops. Because for a limited time, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 trade-in credit for your old countertops. Go to kitchenmart.com today and schedule a free in-home consultation and save $750 off new countertops.
No one does it better than KitchenMart.com.
At Downtown Ford Sacramento, we're proud of our long heritage. We've consistently provided Ford cars and trucks to families and businesses in this region for over 100 years. If we think about it, practically every kid who grew up in this town at one time or another rode around in a Ford that we sold to their family. We've served multiple generations of local farmers and ranchers who got their rugged Ford trucks from us. We've also provided many of the emergency vehicles that you see out doing the people's work every day on the streets. All of us at Downtown Ford, from our top-notch service department who keep your Ford running like new, to our dedicated finance team and the guys and gals in our showroom, we thank you for generations of love and loyalty to us. And for that love, we say right back at you. We're doing Fords just like we always have. Come see us any day of the week or visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
All right, we move on. Great stuff from the one and only Jerry Reynolds. He's the best. He is the absolute best. And he's so right about John Morant. I mean, seriously, is there a more unprofessional player in the NBA? Okay? Seriously. 209, according to Jason Anderson of the Sacramento Bee, he reported today that Morant is the subject of growing trade speculation for the Sacramento Kings. No, he didn't say that. Okay, so you're wrong. While Anderson reported the Kings have not formally engaged the Grizzlies in trade discussions, he also noted General Manager Scott Perry will monitor the guard's future in Sacramento, or in Memphis, rather. My thoughts. Well, all general managers monitor all players in the NBA because it is part of their job. Okay, but he didn't put that out, that Morant is the subject of growing trade speculation for the Sacramento Kings. Okay, let me read what he wrote. All right, according to a league source, the Kings have yet to engage the Grizzlies in trade talks in light of the latest developments in Memphis, but that could change. Well, I mean, you know, a lot of things could change. Perry, an experienced NBA executive who has been part of a roster transformation in Detroit, Orlando, and New York, will most certainly monitor all situations involving high-end talent, including Morant's future in Memphis. As my buddy says, you know what? You'd be better off putting the grass is green and water is wet. It's stupid. I'm sorry. It's stupid. It really is. And again, 209, I beg to differ with you. He did not say that. I just read what he wrote. All right. Grant from the 916, I talked to you yesterday about Jones being cut potentially. It blows my mind that he's gone over Sarge or McDermott. I think finances have something to do with that. Isaac Jones did not have a fully guaranteed deal. So we could talk about that at 916-779-0929. Here's my experience with those that cover the NBA and really all sports. And this is not an attack at Jason Anderson of the Bee. I'm speaking in broad terms. They feel like they've got to put something out, so they give the impression that they know what's going on. But like that, what Jason Anderson put out was completely unnecessary because it doesn't mean anything. I mean, it just doesn't mean anything at all. It's just, he didn't say anything that Scott Perry's going to monitor. Every general manager is monitoring everything that's going on in the NBA. You don't think the general manager of the Orlando Magic is monitoring what's going on in Memphis? You don't think that the general manager of the Houston Rockets is monitoring, good thing I don't have to speak for a living, monitoring the situation going on in Memphis? You don't think that the LA Clippers are monitoring the situation going on in Memphis? That's what general managers do. I mean, come on. It's nonsense. 916-779-0929. And just for the record, and I think you know how I feel, and you just heard what Jerry Reynolds said, John Morant is completely destroying his career. And he's a bad dude. He is a guy that doesn't get it. He is unprofessional. And Jerry feels that his basketball talents have diminished over the last couple of years, on top of everything else, that he's not the same player that he was. He has had injuries, and that is something that you must keep in mind. Like, you just can't ignore that. Rhino, when you watch John Morant, do you have the same impression that he's not the same player that he was? And I'm not just talking about last night's game or the last few games. I'm just talking about in general.
Yeah, he looks disinterested for the most part. Now, in the playoffs, it picks up a little bit, but the ability to add a three-point shot into your game these days is not that difficult, and that's what his game is needed, and yet it's just not happening. Now, yeah, he'll deliver an electric dunk here. He's fearless at the rim, but I would say the inconsistency trumps the consistency with him right now.
All right, if you want to get in on the conversation, 916-779-0929. Sean Salisbury coming up right after Grant's rant. And then tonight at 7 o'clock, I will be on YouTube. If you don't like that, we'll be talking a lot of NFL free agency. The Kings can get you caught up on the NBA scoreboard. So I will just say, I think that if you feel that John Morant would be a good player to have on your team, I don't think you have an understanding of culture. I don't think you have an understanding of anything else as it relates to a team. And here's something else, okay, that Jason Anderson should have put in his tweet, okay, because this is what really needed to go on after that release that he put out, that statement on X, in his opinion. I would have put after that, and if John Morant ends up coming to Sacramento, it would counter everything that Scott Perry has been telling his players and you, the fans, as it relates to his 6 principles. It would go against everything and his quote-unquote mantra for the organization, which then all of a sudden tells you that it's nothing more than nonsense and window dressing, and it just sounds good, and I need to come in and I need to make it sound like I'm the guy. And I don't think Scott Perry is stupid. Like, I don't think that Scott Perry is going to come in to an organization and put those 6 things down on the whiteboard in the locker room and to the Sacramento fans and everything else, and then go out and try to acquire a player like John Morant, because it goes against every single thing that you've preached in your short tenure of Sacramento, which then would send the message that everything is hogwash, that it's all a bunch of nonsense, and that it's, again, a dysfunctional franchise that has absolutely no direction. Okay? Like, that's exactly what it would signal, that you're a franchise that has absolutely no direction. And I don't think Scott Perry's going to do that, because Scott Perry's not stupid. Scott Perry would be cutting his own wrist if he were to go out and acquire a player like Morant after he's been preaching to everyone over the last 4 months about these 6 principles. Rhino, do you have the 6? I don't even know what the hell they are off the top of my head. What are the 6 values that he wants to instill in this organization?
Competitive, tough, team-oriented, accountable, disciplined, and professional.
Okay, well, let's get to the last 3. Accountable, disciplined, and professional. Does that sound like John Morant to you?
I mean, we can replay his audio last night, and we can let everybody else decide.
How about the audio before he got suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies leading up to the game in Toronto? I mean, what about his multiple suspensions by the NBA for being a moron? How does that fit into the final 3 of the criteria in his 6 philosophies? How does that fit in?
It doesn't, but let me ask you this. I think you could make the same argument about Monty McNair trading for Zach LaVine, that it would be cutting his own wrist, right? And this is where a meddling owner comes in. This is the Vivek factor that you talk about. If Vivek wants a player, he's going to cut his GM off at the knees.
There's no question about that. 100%. And that's why the Kings are at the bottom of the conference almost every year. There are exceptions, 3 years ago being one of them. And that is why they will continue to be at the bottom of the conference, because they are a dysfunctional franchise with a direction that has a lot of detours on it. And first of all, these are just rumors. And again, I'm going to go on record that I don't think Scott Perry would bring John Morant in, because I don't think Scott Perry is stupid. I like Scott. I mean, I like the guy.
Me too.
I really do. And I've been very open about this. I think that, like most executives, he deserves 3 years. And I'm going to give him 3 years before I make any brash statements. However, caveat to that, an asterisk. If for some reason I'm wrong and John Morant ends up in Sacramento, the first question to Scott Perry should be, what about your what word am I looking for? What do you call them?
The 6 principles.
Okay, thank you. That's the word. Scott, what about the 6 principles you've been talking about over and over again, and how this season is not necessarily about anything other than the culture and instilling the 6 principles? Well, what happened to that? They don't matter anymore? That would be my question to him. That would be the first question to him. And he wouldn't be able to answer that and give me an answer that would be anything other than BS.
We've talked with Ja, and, there's been a lot that's not been reported. And in many ways, he has been disciplined in tough situations. We've had conversations about accountability and what's expected of him in Sacramento, and anything that is not professional with the media and or the team and its coaching staff will be addressed. You see where there's room for spin there?
Well, I'll tell you, if that happens, he better not listen to this show, okay? Because he won't like what he hears. I can promise you that. All right, you will like what you hear if you call Spencer at Village Financial Group. If you are in the market to buy a home, sell a home, looking for a home equity line of credit. 25 years I've known Spence, family-owned business that he began back in the turn of the century. And if you're looking for a home equity line of credit, you're buying a home, selling a home, Spence is a very creative financing specialist, and he has access to private money. Call or text Spence, 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. And be sure and ask Spence about the investor special. And go online and see that they can do a lot of things for you at Village Financial Group, VFGloans.com, including finding over 9,000 properties available for purchase. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. We'll be right back with more on Fox Sports Sacramento.
The statewide special election is November 4th. All voters will receive a ballot in the mail and have several options to return their ballot conveniently, including a postage-paid envelope. You can also vote in person at any vote center and have access to your ballot in an accessible format, as well as receive assistance in multiple languages. Be sure to vote early and avoid the lines. Learn more at elections.saccounty.gov or call toll-free 1-800-762-8019.
Ready to turn your idle equipment into cash? Purple Wave Auction is your solution. We specialize in no-reserve online auctions, bringing nationwide buyers to your doorstep. From excavators to dozers, we'll market your assets to a vast audience of eager buyers. No hauling required. We photograph and list your equipment where it sits. Experience our transparent and simple process with expert support. Join successful sellers who trust Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com today to learn how easy selling can be.
At Downtown Ford Sacramento, we're proud of our long heritage. We've consistently provided Ford cars and trucks to families and businesses in this region for over 100 years. If we think about it, practically every kid who grew up in this town at one time or another rode around in a Ford that we sold to their family. We've served multiple generations of local farmers and ranchers who got their rugged Ford trucks from us. We've also provided many of the emergency vehicles that you see out doing the people's work every day on the streets. All of us at Downtown Ford, from our top-notch service department who keep your Ford running like new, to our dedicated finance team and the guys and gals in our showroom, we thank you for generations of love and loyalty to us. And for that love, we say right back at you. We're doing Fords just like we always have. Come see us any day of the week or visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Tired of the same old routine? Need a place where the beer flows and the good times roll? Then head to Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss everyday happy hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
Sean Salisbury coming up after Grant's Rant. In hour number 3, we're going to get to some phone calls in just a moment. So I guess Grant forgot what it's like to have a fresh start, how a change of scenery and environment can do wonders. You, of all people, should know about second chances. Well, first of all, I didn't do anything wrong, so I don't really consider this a second chance. I turned down other jobs over the last couple of years, and I love doing my podcast so much. I didn't really want to take those jobs. And then when this opportunity came back in Sacramento, I just love the fans here, and I love talking to the fans. So you can't compare John Morant's situation to mine. That's stupid. And here's the other deal. He's had second chances. He's had 3 chances. He's had 4 chances. What do you mean second chances? Are you kidding me? Go spend a moment and Google John Morant and look at what he's done in his career. Second chances? You got to be kidding me. Let's get to Dorian right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Dorian, welcome to the show. How are you?
What's up, Grant? What's up, Rhino? You know, Grant, I'm going to push back on this one, man. I think Ja would be electric here in Sacramento. You know, obviously Scott Perry has his 6 principles, right? But I think sometimes as leaders, and I'm talking specifically, about Scott, obviously Ja has had multiple second chances, but I just think that his time in Memphis is over. I mean, it's clear.
So what? Why do you think it's over, Dorian? Dorian, you played sports. You were in a locker room. You played college football.
Of course.
Do you know what it's like when you have a real bad apple in your locker room? What happens? Okay? It sucks 100%. The wind out of your locker room. It's a problem. Do you want that in a locker room with only 15 guys or 14 instead of, whatever it was in college football? You don't want that.
Sure. Yeah, but totally. But what are you going to do? Are you going to keep Ja in Memphis? Like, Memphis isn't doing that, right? They want a better future for that organization, regardless if they stay in Memphis or if they go somewhere else. But I think if you're Scott Perry, right, as a leader, you have these 6 principles, right? But I think that you also have to consider the fact that, Ja Morant just needs to change because it's not working anymore in Memphis. And I'm not comparing Ja Morant to DeMarcus Cousins. Those are 2 different situations. Obviously, his behavior, his character is unbecoming of a professional athlete and just a person in general. But, I mean, if I'm looking at the future of the Kings, Ja's 26, Neek's 23, Monk's 27, Keegan's 25.
So what? I don't care if Ja Morant is 19. I don't care. I don't care if he's 20 years old. The guy is an absolute basket case and has been from day one when he stepped into the NBA. He's been nothing but a problem and a malcontent and unprofessional. You think all of a sudden because he leaves Memphis he's going to change and be a good soldier? I mean, it's not going to happen.
I mean, I'm not saying that, but I think a change in environment, a change in cities. I mean, he just looks disinterested. He looks like he doesn't want to play basketball anymore. And I mean, I don't know. If I'm Scott, I'm making that phone call, and I don't know what I'm giving up to get Ja Morant, but I think that move, whether it's good or bad, you're possibly positioning the Kings to at least expand their window and to be much younger than what they are right now. Because
the
what are you
heck
gonna do
with
Dennis
age.
Schroeder?
Forget about being younger. You don't want a basket case with red flags in your locker room. If you want to talk about culture and turning around the culture, you don't want that. I mean, listen, do you know how many players in Memphis don't want to play with John Moran? Desmond Bain couldn't wait to get out of there, and Desmond Bain is talented as all heck. He was so happy when he got dealt to Orlando. Players don't want to be with him. What does that tell you?
Yeah, I totally get your point, but again, at the same time, like I mentioned, Dennis Schroeder? There's no future with Dennis Schroeder. There's no future with Russell Westbrook. The Kings aren't even playing Devin Carter. So what are you doing for the point guard position? Well,
you have a lot of first round. You have a lot of first round draft picks coming up here, and there are going to be point guards that are available. And if you only win 30 games this year, which could very well happen, you have a really good chance of getting a young point guard in the draft next year. So, I mean, that's why you made the trade for Fox, and you got all this draft capital. So, I mean, that you have a lot to deal with here.
Yeah, I totally agree. But we're also talking about the Kings, Grant. I mean, they hit on Tyrese Halliburton, right? They hit on Keegan Murray.
Yeah,
but
they did.
What is the track record of the Kings actually drafting? I mean, you get Isaac Jones and now you waive him, right? You get Nima.
Yeah, but Isaac Jones isn't going to turn your friend. Isaac Jones is a role player. Let's not put Isaac Jones like he's like going to be an NBA All-Star. He's a role player. He's a piece.
I totally understand, but if you're drafting players and you're not even giving them the time to develop and giving them playing time, then what's the point of drafting them? You're just giving them away.
Listen, I understand that principle. I get that, but sometimes you draft a player and you realize in a period of time that you made a mistake and it's time to go in a different direction. I mean, that happens with high draft picks and it happens with low draft picks. I mean, it happened with Thomas Robinson. I mean, I tell you the story, Dorian. I think you've heard me say this. The second day I go to Vegas, Bobby Jackson was coaching a summer league team. Second day. And I go up to Bobby, I go, how's Robinson look? He goes, he can't play. I go, he's hurt already?
Mm-hmm.
He goes, no, he can't play. I go, what do you mean he can't play? He said, the guy can't play. And I'm like, I looked at Bobby and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And he was right. Bobby knew in 2 days that the Kings had made a mistake. Sometimes you know right away, and then sometimes it takes a while.
Yeah, totally, Grant. I totally understand your point, but we'll see what happens. A big, quick little shout out, Grant. I'm going to the Sacramento State Hornets against the Dominican game tonight. Coach Mike Bibby's first game. So
I love that. Good.
Hornets.
Good. Hey, do me a favor. Call me tomorrow and let me know what that was like. That's good. I'm really happy you're going to the Mike Bibby's first game. I wish them the best. And would you do me a favor and call the show tomorrow and let me know how the experience was?
I definitely will, Grant. Definitely will. Love you guys, man.
All right. Appreciate you, Dorian. Even though I totally disagree with you, I really appreciate you. Let's get to Mac. Mac, welcome to Fox Sports Sacramento.
Oh, hey, Grant. How you doing?
Hey, Mac.
I just wanted to, I'm a little bit frustrated and kind of, I'm just upset at the 49ers. Their big trade deadline move when they have no defensive line at all was promoting Robert Beal. And I'm not saying they had to go and get like premier talent, but just getting some NFL players would have been a nice thing to do. I mean, you look at all their busts that they've had, and they're great late on day two in the draft. But you look at Jake Moody in the third round, and you saw Trey Sermon, go on. And also they have a young secondary. A pass rush really helps a young secondary. And it's just kind of like you just got drafted up and stout, and you have a young secondary, and you're kind of going to leave them out on, hang them on the clothesline. I just was so disappointed. And how must Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey feel? 6-3, and you're going to just stand pat and not go and have NFL caliber players at defensive line, because you've lost I think they're at 10 defensive linemen are injured. It's crazy. And what do you think about that? Because for me, Christian McCaffrey, he may not win the MVP or Offensive Player of the Year, but he is having one heck of a year, a special.
He's having
year.
a great year.
And
he's having a phenomenal year. There's no question about that.
I think not acquiring talent is a slap in the face to a guy like that, especially when you're 6-3. What do you think of that?
Here's what I think. I think if you look at the big picture, and again, I'm speculating here, I think John Lynch looks at his roster, looks at all of the injuries, what's available based on the cost that it would take and realizes that this is not going to be the year and that I can't invest in a year and a reach and give away capital when I'm way behind the 8 ball right now. When you lose a Nick Bosa and you lose a Fred Warner, and I'm going to stop right there and I can list a lot of others, you all of a sudden become a team that in all likelihood it will not be able to compete in January if you make it to January. And I think John Lynch sees that. I think he's being a realist here. I understand if you're a fan, you're like, please go out and do something. But is it really worth it, like, to take that risk when this year is probably out of reach? I mean, if you're going to look at this objectively, the 49ers have, in my opinion, very little chance to go to the Super Bowl this year. Very little chance. And it's based solely on their defensive injuries. They're not going without Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. And you can go out and you can fill a spot and get a defensive lineman and this and that. You're not getting an impact player in the draft in all likelihood. And they're not going to give up what the Colts gave up to get Sauce Gardner, and they're not going to give up what the Cowboys gave up to get Quinnen Williams. The Niners aren't going to do that for a variety of reasons. And it's just, first of all, not possible. So that's what I think. I don't want to say they're waving the white flag because I think that would be too strong of a statement, but I just think they're being realist here.
Okay, and one last thing, and I'll take this off the air. Next week, you have the potential of Pittsburgh and Notre Dame both being 2-win teams playing for a playoff spot. Do you think that would be the prime game of the week? And that's it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
All right. Hey, thank you very much. I haven't even looked at the college football schedule in depth because I'm still analyzing the recent rankings and everything else. I would say that I don't think either of those teams, were they to get into the college football playoff, could win a championship. That's what I would say. All right, let's get to Lynn. Lynn, you're on with Grant Napear. Go ahead.
Hey, Grant, how are you doing?
Good, Lynn.
Hey, I had talked about Jerry Jones. Man, when is this guy going to stop trying to be a football operation guy?
When he
this guy
dies.
is just can't get it done. Because I'll tell you, Jerry, man, he is a business guy. He gets things done. I mean, his stadium next year is going to be hosting like 7-8 games of the World Cup. He has 5 Group 1 matches, 2 in the 32. He has 1 in the 16, and he has the semifinal game of the World Cup.
Yeah, he's a genius when it
his
comes to
stadium.
business. He's a genius when it comes to
And
business.
He's amazing with this stuff. And he has to compete with the Ross guy who owns the F1 track in Miami. He's like, I got to up this guy up and have his own Grand Prix. So in March this year of 26, he's going to have a Grand Prix running around Wally World and the Texas Ranger Stadium with the IndyCar teams. So this guy is just a great business guy. He gets it done. And he has the Cotton Bowl this year, will be a semifinal game or something like that in the college. And he has the Big 12 Championship. The guy gets it done on the business side, but his decision in football is horrible.
What do they have? 3 playoff wins, 4 playoff wins since they last won the Super Bowl in the mid '90s. I mean, it's embarrassing. And he's just he's a horrible owner in terms of putting a good product on the field. He's awful at it.
He is. And he is a business guy. I want to talk about real quick about the Dodgers. That was an amazing series, but man, what about baseball is you were so right when you were commenting on him, how much money they are spending. And I am fearing watching this group here. They're getting into my favorite sport, IndyCar, and they are just like spending money like they are in the Dodgers. It's going to be interesting to see what happens the next couple years in IndyCar and see if they go just buy a championship and a 500. And I'm going to really keep my eye out on the Lakers too, because they do have the majority share of the Lakers, but there is the cap is a little bit more tougher in the NBA versus the Major League Baseball for sure.
Lynn, good hearing from you. Have a good afternoon. Appreciate you. If you want to get in on the program next hour, give me a call. Again, 916-779-0929. Switch gears for a little bit. When we come back after Grant's rant, we will have Sean Salisbury, and we'll talk a lot about the movement today in the National Football League and some of the real big moves. So really looking forward to that. And the NBA, the schedule tonight, including the Warriors hosting the Phoenix Suns, the Warriors, after a brief road trip where they did not play well, trying to get back on track tonight. They are 4-3 and taking on a Phoenix Suns team that is 3-4. So we've got all of that. Other games, Thunder at the Clippers, Pelicans and Hornets from New Orleans, Bulls and Sixers. That's going to be a really good matchup. 5-1 against 5-1. Magic and Hawks, both 3 up and 4 down. Raptors and Bucks underway in TO, and it's currently the Raptors up halfway through quarter number 1, 24-19. So we got the NBA, we got the NFL news. I'm probably going to spend the majority of the segment with Sean talking about the NFL just due to the trade deadline that is in our rearview mirror now. Talk about some of the big moves, talk about what he thinks about some things going on in the National Football League. We might, we could touch a little college football. We'll see how much time I have. Again, that's coming up in a couple of minutes right after Grant's rant. I have a lot of things I guess I could rant on today. But again, if you are a fan of the Kings like Dorian, and Dorian loves the Kings, and I love Dorian, he's a great guy. I have a lot of respect for him. But Dorian, I mean, gosh, for a guy that's been in a locker room before, at college, at Division I college football, and of all people that should know what a bad apple in the locker room can do. I mean, come on now. All right, come on. All right, hey, DAS Mechanical, family owned and operated since 2018. Locally serving Sacramento and Placer counties, HVAC retrofit and service specialists. They do new systems, homeowners, businesses for commercial maintenance. Right now, a $69 winter maintenance check. Just go to dasmechanical.org. D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org. Take advantage of that $69 special and look at all of their 5-star reviews and their numerous best of the best awards. And if you do need a HVAC system, and again, they are HVAC retrofit and service specialists, but if you need a new system, remember, numerous financing options, including 0% interest for 18 months. dasmechanical.org. And again, check out their reviews, their awards, and you can book right online. That's dasmechanical.org. Grant's Rant, Sean Salisbury next here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports Traffic as we take another look at the roadways starting to get real busy throughout the Sacramento area. Brand new accident off to the shoulder of westbound US 50 right at County Road, E3 Hazel Avenue. You got some pretty big backups even though this accident's off to the shoulder. Cap City Freeway eastbound at N Street. Got an accident blocking off the left lane. Heavy delays all the way. Get backed up to about Marconi Avenue. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. At Bennett's, it's all about bold flavors and fresh handcrafted food served with genuine hospitality. Craving prime hand-cut steaks? We've got them. Fresh salmon, halibut, or giant Mexican prawns? We've got those too. At Bennett's, we serve premium seafood and steaks in a relaxed setting. Whether you're joining us for a special night out or a casual bite, we'll treat you like family every time. Find us in Sacramento, Roseville, and Rockland. View our menus and make a reservation at bennettsrestaurants.com.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The Cowboys may not be among the NFL's elite, but after the loss to the Cardinals last night, it might be time to shift the conversation and focus on Kyler Murray, if you're the Cardinals. 7 years into his NFL career, and what do the Cardinals have to show for it? One winning season, no playoff wins, a 38-48 record with Murray as the starter. 2 head coaches, an offense that frankly has looked sharper at times without him. And let's not forget a video game clause once baked into his contract to make sure he studied. That's not the resume of a franchise quarterback. That's the resume of a player who has kept a franchise stuck in neutral. Not bad enough to start over, but not good enough to move on and truly contend. The Cardinals have talent, energy, and some promising young building blocks. But if the goal is long-term success, maybe it's time to stop trying to make the Kyler Murray era work and start thinking about what comes next in the desert and maybe focusing on Jacoby Brissett for now. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. It's being called the Golden Bonanza Sweepstakes. Thanks to our friends at Mako, the DP Show, proud to be a part of this, giving listeners a chance to join us in San Francisco for Super Week. That's right, a trip for two, including round-trip coach airfare, 3 nights, hotel stay, ground transportation, and VIP access to see us do our show. If that's not enough, Mako also giving away 5 free paint jobs and 10 Mako and DP Show swag bags as runner-up prizes. It's really simple to enter. You go to danpatrick.com. The best news, you can enter daily for a chance to win. You can also receive a 25% off coupon to use at any Mako shop. Visit any Mako location now for a free estimate and redeem the coupon. Terms and conditions apply. Remember, go to danpatrick.com for official rules. No purchase necessary. Void in Alaska, Hawaii, and where prohibited. Open to contiguous U.S. D.C. residents 18 or over. Ends 11/23/25.
Grant Napear is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports, KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant.
All right. The topic of the day is Ja Morant. And I'm seeing everyone's all over the board here on this. Okay? I'm seeing it's all over the board. And if you are a fan of a franchise, the last thing you want is a malcontent in your locker room. You don't want a head case in your locker room. And you don't want somebody that is unprofessional and exhibits stupid, unprofessional behavior as a professional athlete. That is not somebody that you want in your locker room. That's not somebody that, as a fan, generally speaking, you want to go out and support. Okay? That's just the way it is. I've been there. I've been in many locker rooms. NBA, National Football League, NHL. You know, I'm not like a know-it-all. I'm not like the biggest expert in the world, but I've been around the block a couple of times. And you just heard from Jerry Reynolds earlier in the show talking about how Ja Morant is destroying his career on top of everything else. And he also mentioned that he feels that his skills have diminished, and a lot of it is due to injury. And he was very detailed in his observation of Morant over the last period of time, which is what you really should go by. And you're talking about a guy that's got a $197 million contract, right? He's making an average of $40 million a year on top of everything else. And now all of a sudden, you want a head case? Do you know what it's like to have a head case in your locker room, especially when it's a basketball team, a small locker room? It sucks the air out of the room. And as far as Scott Perry goes, if Scott Perry were to go out and trade for Ja Morant, he is absolutely in no man's land with his 6 principles that he has laid out as the foundation of this franchise since coming in and accepting the job back in, April? I mean, come on. It makes no sense at all. I wouldn't want Ja Morant anywhere near my locker room. I wouldn't want him anywhere near my franchise. And don't tell me about second chances. The guy's already had a second chance, a third chance, and a 4th chance. He's a malcontent, okay? He's a bad dude. He's unprofessional, and you don't want him, all right? Trust me. I've been there. I've seen it. You don't want a bad guy. You don't want a guy like that in your locker room. And that's my rant for today. Sean Salisbury, he's been in some locker rooms before, and I'm sure he could shed some light on this a lot better than I could even, because he's been in a lot of different situations, even though it's football where you have a lot more players, Sean, and it's always great to have you on. But man, oh man, character, bad guy, I've seen it suck the air out of locker rooms before.
Yeah, no doubt, Grant. Great to be on with you. What happens is if it's a non-star, you can kind of put them in the motor pool, and people will just, quite frankly, they'll just mow over them. It happens in lots. Football, basketball, baseball, they're not the loudest voice. Now, you can still get a fractured one because, they get clicks, right? Not clicks on social media, but, this group, there's 3 dudes in this group, 5 in this group. And so voices start to grow because of it. Now, listen, I've never been a teammate with a guy like John Morant. I've had some teammates that are selfish. Most of the teammates I've been around are phenomenal, but selfish that, have tried to fracture. I've never been around a superstar. I'm thinking of the teams I've been on, San Diego with Junior Seau, Rodney Harrison. Both Rodney should be in the Hall of Fame. They were 180 degrees different than that. They practiced as if they were free agent. I mean, if they were trying to make a team. They were the best practice guys, best teammates in the locker room. In Minnesota, whether it's Warren Moon or Randall McDaniel or Gary Zimmerman, all guys, our best players were at the top of the leadership. And then it permeated through everybody else. So even if you had a bad attitude or wanted to play more or were a loud voice, that you didn't get hurt as much because we didn't need a coach or a front office guy or media or social media to stop it. We just took care of it in the locker room ourselves, and that voice went away. So the strongest voices in the locker room were the most present were guys that were for being a teammate and being a good teammate and part of the team. And everybody wants to get paid. I get it. In the case of John Morant, and Grant, I see it from a distance. You know my affinity for basketball and how much I love it. And I keep watching the guy. And you talk about second chances. Well, second, third, fourth chances. At what point in time do you just decide? And here's a simple. And if I was a GM in football or basketball right now, somebody called me and said, Sean, be a GM at a college or, at the universities now or in the NFL. My number one thing when people ask, well, what about talent and attitude in the locker room? Is the talent bigger than the headache? Or is the headache bigger than the talent? And in this case, and if the headache is bigger than the talent, I don't really care if if he's a once in a while guy that is a good attitude when things are going well, when things are going, that everybody's kissing his ass. Then I don't want that guy, because a once in a while guy, now that voice can disrupt 6 or 7 other guys because he brings them along with him. And now you got two sides battling each other. That voice does have power. He'll be the most talented player wherever he goes, more than likely, unless he's, with a Steph Curry or he goes to Milwaukee and Giannis. He'll be the most talented player in the locker room. And so that becomes a problem. Now, I understand his talent. People love him. But how often are you going to let a guy come in and disrupt an apple cart? Because the headache right now appears to be bigger than the talent, and the talent's enormous. So when you get how many times you've got a problem with the coach, another guy in the locker room can't keep himself out of trouble away from, all these things. I understand second chances. I'm all for it. Second chances at life, second chances with a team. The guy makes a lot of money. The guy's a great talent. But at what point in time does he elevate your team? We see it in football. Guys that keep getting traded. Why? Because you know what? You can only handle them for a short period of time. You can only handle them for a short period of time. They impact you and then they move on, but they impact you positively sometimes and negatively sometimes. Your leaders can't do that, and you're sure as hell can't have your best player do that. And so, right now, and I asked the question on social media a couple days ago, you go after him if you think the talent's bigger than the headache, but you better be prepared for what you may find out. Great skill set, but also a great headache.
Sean, I love what the Colts did. They're right there. They feel like they have an opportunity in a very balanced and not a dominant team in the AFC. They're off to a good start. We know about their offensive line, running game, the resurgence of Daniel Jones. Now you will add a Sauce Gardner on the back end of the defense. I love that move, Sean.
I love what they did because they think they're a Super Bowl team and the way they're playing, even though it feels like it was a little bit of an overpay for me, Grant, because of this last loss. Problem is, though, if you get sacked 5 times and turn it over 6 times, 3 more times this year, you're losing all 3 of those games. That was an offensive problem in this one. Now they do need a corner, and they went out and got a pretty damn good one. By all accounts, he, Surtain, Stingley, those are the 3 or 4 best in the league. There's no doubt. But I asked this question, Grant, and I do like it. I like aggressive teams, and I'll deal with it later. And I usually, when people ask, I'm not worried about 5 years from now, Grant. I'm not. I'm not worried about what the Colts are going to look like if I'm in 2029 or 2031. I'm worried about now and next year, how it's going to impact, and we got a chance to win a Super Bowl. I'd love teams, say that whether it's spinning a lot or what, the Dodgers to go in and say, I'm going to go get somebody. We're good, but I want to be great. So I love the move that's on the field. But I also know this, in the long run, and the Jets need to keep compiling assets because they're going nowhere. They need to fire sale like this, and they got rid of the defensive tackle, and they're moving on with that to get assets, kind of like Oklahoma City Thunder and the Rockets did in basketball. You're trying to gather those guys so you can use them as better players and trade up and get the kinds of draft picks you want. The key for me, though, Grant, is, I'm not giving up 2 first-rounders ever and a player for a corner. I'm just not. Those are reserved for me, for edge rushers, quarterbacks. Look, I went through the list today. When's the last time a defensive back got traded, two first-rounders were traded for him? Since 2000. There is none. This guy. Now, we've had Khalil Mack. We've had, like, Matthew Stafford, guys like that. But I always say this, players that are closer to the line of scrimmage, meaning closer to the quarterback, have a bigger impact. Laramie Tunsil. Now, of all those, there's only one of them that's won a championship that I can recall, and that was Stafford. Had to do it. Quarterback's got the ball in his hand 65 times a game. To me, I can manipulate formations, and he may travel and cover people, cover your best receiver, but I can still, there's 10 other dudes I can attack. I can stay away from him. And at the most, let's say he traveled and you're playing Jamar Chase or Puka Nacua. What, 10 targets a game? I got 60 plays. I got 55 other plays to go get. So I love it for the Colts on the urgent, yes. And the truth is, I don't know if the draft picks are ever going to be any good. So I love their aggressiveness. But if you come to me, you say a quarterback, if I can go get Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, yeah, you're damn right. But it's hard for me to give up 2 number 1s for a corner that's removed from the center quarterback area, because there's 4 of them. I can still go attack. But yes, he makes them better. He's a great player. I just don't usually subscribe to giving up that much for a corner,
That's
even
a lot.
really good one. Yeah, it is. Now the Jets, I like what the Jets did. I'd have done the same damn thing.
Me too. I love the
And
Jets.
do
I
love
think
the
they had a
Colts'
great day.
aggressiveness. Yeah, but for me, Grant, agreed. 100%
Too much. Okay.
with Quinn and Williams as well.
Well,
But I was
the
just
one
going to
thing,
say,
Sean.
I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
No, the one thing, if you know this, Sean, if you're a player in the Colts locker room, you love this because you said they don't care about the future. They want to win now. They got to be ecstatic over this.
If I'm the head coach, Steichen, if I'm Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, every friggin' guy, as a player, you don't really, because plus you don't want draft pick taking your job. You're like, hell yes, I want this. So for the Colts and what we're looking at, no doubt. I just normally wouldn't subscribe to giving up 2 number 1s for a corner. For Myles Garrett, yes. For a quarterback, yes. But hey, the Colts doing this sends a loud message to the fan base as well. I like it.
All right. What about the Cowboys giving up what they did to get Quinn and Williams?
I'm trying to figure the Cowboys out.
You can't.
I really am. What,
you can't figure them out.
A 2, a player, and a 1 next year, correct? 2 this year and a 1 next year.
Yep.
Quinn and Williams are a really good player, and the Cowboys did it. But I'm sitting here trying to think, okay, didn't they just – now a disruptor, an interior disruptor that can go get the quarterback, play in the run game, and that matters. It's an upgrade for the Cowboys, no doubt. Their defense is awful. It was an embarrassing loss last night. They need a lot of – it was embarrassing on offense. Hell, they let a backup quarterback who should start anyway. Because if I'm Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray's not my quarterback in 2027. I'm never winning a title with him. He's a sometime-timer. He'll play sometimes, and sometimes he won't, and he's spectacular, and then he disappears. But I do like that the Cowboys got him, but I'm still trying to figure out, didn't you just get rid of one of the 3 best disruptors in the world for Green Bay?
Yep.
Then you got him, and then you went and got another interior guy. I would have loved if the Cowboys would have tried to trade somebody else, accumulate something, go get Quinn and Williams, and keep Micah Parsons, and have them both there. Now we're talking. I don't know how you'd manipulate it, but find a way. It's a smart move by Jerry to get him, but it almost feels like they just got rid of Micah because they didn't want to pay all that money and personality differences or what have you. So they robbed Peter to pay Paul, but at least they paid Paul. And getting the defensive guy was a good get. Normally the Cowboys would go out and say, well, we made a big move. We got a 5th-round draft pick wide receiver who's going to be our 4th guy. At least they're making headway. But will it be enough on a defense that, quite frankly, Grant, it can't stop me and you half the time. So, but it is a definite upgrade. And a 1st-rounder, a 2nd-rounder, that sounds more like it, and especially for a guy who's going to play where? Right around the quarterback. He can disrupt from there. Harder to control than a guy that plays out on a corner that I can manipulate with coverage and with formations and motions.
Sean, one of the great things about what we do today with the internet is you can work for yourself, and you're pretty much doing that with your show on Rumble on Unpaved, which I try to watch when I can. I love it. For the fans that have not being able to check that out. Let's talk about that because I think it's going very well for you.
It is, and we just landed 2 really, really monster advertisers that reached out. I guess that's when you know you're, Grant, I've been in the business long enough to know that it's you can do great radio, have the #1 show, but if you don't fall into the money category, corporate radio or TV, they'll just move on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about revenue. It's not about providing good radio. So you kind of get bored with that technique. So like a lot of these people, you go out and say, okay. And for 3 years, I've been talking to them. They've tried to get me, and I wasn't ready for it. I was getting a master's, and so it finally fit this year. And so came up with a name. I like it because my life's been unpaved, but I kind of like it because I embrace it. And we got great combo. We just added another piece, and we'll add another piece in January. We added a great precious metals advertiser that's a monster sponsor for us that they reached out to us. So I guess that's the best thing when they're watching and they call you because they want to sponsor on your show because it's on YouTube, and it matters to me, and the money's good too. So that does matter, but it's the passion, and then you control your own content, right? You don't have to answer anybody. You're the boss. I get to do the hiring. Me too. And this is not only it's been the future for a while, but it's got to be timings right, and it's growing fast, and our YouTube will continue to grow. I would expect 2026 for us to be a household name nationally with this show. I really.
And you don't have to get up at 4 a.m, Sean.
No, I've had that 8 to 10 years is long enough, brother. Now my 6 o'clock tea time's better than waking up and have talk. And I loved it. The fans and listeners in Houston for 8 years, and we had a great show and a great run. Were phenomenal. So I'm so grateful. But I'm finding other things that I've really wanted to do, and this has kind of freed me up. And I'm getting more done by 10 o'clock than you normally would. So I love it, and I'm grateful for it. But this new challenge, and then there's some businesses, you and I involved in one as well, that are growing, that I'm spending more time turning into something special. So when I believe there was a much bigger blessing for me, and it's presenting itself now, and it will grow. And you're passionate about it, I'm passionate about it, so I'm grateful. So thanks for asking.
Yeah,
and you
course.
can get it on YouTube at 12 Central live every day, and you can get the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify. We do clips all the time, and I think you'll like it because you're not going to get hot takes that nobody wants. I'll never say anything I don't believe on that show. Does that make sense?
I know.
And neither
I love
will anybody else. We believe what we say, and we prepare hard, and I think it's gonna catch fire and spread. So it'll be nice.
I love it. Sean, how difficult is it to continue to be a fan of the Raiders?
Well, Grant, it's like that. How can I put it? You know that the T-shirt you can't get rid of, even though it's got 8 holes in it. It's vintage and has a Rolling Stones the tongue, the one we all bought when we were kids.
Right.
And the material is, and it's about to fall off. Yet you say, I'm not giving it up. And your significant other or somebody else says, dude, throw that crap away. And you say no. Same thing with the Raiders. For so many years, I still think that Stabler, Madden, and Mark Van Eegen are playing on the team with Phil Villapiano and Cliff Branch. So. Yeah, it's hard, but Grant, they don't know how to win. And I know it's going to take Pete a minute. Pete knows how to win, but I watch them every week, and there's about a dozen or so plays, or 14 or 15 plays a week that I say on both sides of either way. So you say, what are we thinking about here? This is grown-ass men. What are we doing? What this decision or this throw or this run? I'm still trying to figure out their approach. But they've got some really good pieces that just the whole sum of them isn't very good. It's hard, just like anybody. I'm never turning my back on the Raiders because I feel like they're family and they're in my DNA and blood. And I watch them every week and through, as you know. But it's very difficult because at times they play like they belong playing against De La Salle High School on a Friday night as opposed to, I guess I should say Bishop Gorman now that they're in Las Vegas instead of Northern California. But it's really hard because they've got good players. They need more, but they don't know how to win right now because inevitably every game they're doing something that puts their team in a bind on either side of the ball. Hard, but they're that vintage T-shirt that I can't get rid of, my man, and I'm not going to. But I judge them like I would me or my Trojans, more harsh than I do any other team just because I expect more. But silver and black commitment to excellence right now, it's mediocrity, and they got to fix it.
All right, final thing, and I didn't get a chance to talk to you last week because of a technical issue. So Brian Kelly and LSU. And I said from day one, I didn't think Brian Kelly was a good fit in LSU, and I did not think it was going to work. You know how it is in LSU. You're there to win a championship, and if not, you're out the door. And, oh, by the way, here's $50 million. Have a good life. If you were a big-time athletic director at a power Division I school, would you want Brian Kelly coaching your team?
No, not right now. Brian Kelly's got some. I think he's a good coach. Don't misunderstand me. He knows football, but I'm growing weary of these. I don't want to, abusive isn't the right word, and I respect Brian, but I'm growing weary of the constant. And I like fiery coaches, but there's a difference between Dan Campbell, fiery with the Detroit, and Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's the type of guy that when you wake up and go to work in the day, it's you're going into misery. Well, it's going to be one of those days where it's a little selfish. That if you make one mistake, the world's coming to an end, and he's going to make sure the world knows it and dress you down and embarrass you. There's a difference between chewing a guy out. We tell people not to air your dirty laundry, right, all the time. Brian airs it on his court, walking aside, and he'll greet him. And I don't care if he's liked, but I think it gets to the point where it falls on deaf ears. And 9 wins at LSU is not enough. 10 wins, and he's got good players. And when he came in there and faked the accent, it was just he belongs somewhere in the Northeast. You interview him at Penn State. I like him. I respect him in his game. But you know what? He's just not. People that have never been to Baton Rouge or understand the culture, if you don't know what goes in gumbo, that's a bad start. So that's one. Secondly, then you better go to Nebraska and ask Warren Buffett to get you a steak. But you better know, and I kid partially, but from the get-go, you're right. It was oil and oil water mix. It just was because of part of it. And there's something that you don't have to be from LSU, but you got to understand what they're about there. And I don't think he ever did. I don't. For everything, it's just a different personality, and that's one of those places. And there's a handful of them in the country. You got to be one of them when it comes to the thought process. And you get great football players. You get great recruiting. They got money. No, I understand why Oregon State would hire him if they did, or somebody like that. But if I'm a Power 4 school that wants camaraderie, that wants respect in the building, that wants you to be hard and coach them hard, but you know what? You also still got to win them over. You got to get buy-in. Brian Kelly eliminates buy-in immediately because of how it reminds me of Bill O'Brien, Northeast guy. Ray listened to him today. Go listen to his press conference today, Graham. Yeah. They just can't help themselves for going after something, and then they got to apologize. And if they got to keep apologizing, you know something's wrong. I think there's whatever you want to call it. There's something missing, connection missing. And in college now, it doesn't mean you got to kiss their backside, but you better find buy-in and connection. And I think Brian Kelly creates dissension, and he doesn't create that. I can't wait to get to work. He creates, I can't wait to stay in bed until the season's over. And from my vantage point, that's not a good thing. And I think Brian Kelly, he'll coach again, but I'm not hiring him. In Penn State's, it's just a lateral move. James Franklin goes out, and you're going to hire him if you hire him, and you're going to win 9 or 10 games because it's Penn State, and you're not going to win a national championship. That's all I can tell you.
I appreciate you, Sean. You're the best, buddy. You have a good week, and I'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Feelings always mutual, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Sean Salisbury, great stuff right here. As we go to the break with the numbers 916-779-0929. Call or text the show. We've got 2 segments left here on a busy Tuesday on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports Traffic taking another look at the roadways. Officials remain on scene of that earlier accident, Cap City Freeway eastbound right at N Street 2. Left lanes remain blocked off there. You got pretty much stop-and-go traffic from the Cap I-80 interchange, top of the town freeway, as you make your way down to US 50 along the Cap City Freeway. Accident on County Road 65 right now, northbound right at the I-80 interchange, also slowing things down. With twice-an-hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Business owners, Grant Napier's back, bringing Fox Sports Radio to the forefront of sports talk in Sacramento. That means more listeners, more potential customers who could be spending money for your products and services. This is Kurt Bagelman, General Manager for Fox Sports Radio in Sacramento. Grant's back, and his return is an opportunity for your business. Listen, the sports talk audience is a target-rich group of consumers. 80% are employed, nearly 60% earn 6-figure incomes, 67% own their home. homes. Take advantage of the attention Grant's return has generated to tell people where to spend their money. This is a unique opportunity to increase your sales right now. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great commercial message heard by sports fans could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 779-0914. Radio and Grant get results, and we are here to help. Call 779-0914.
The statewide special election is November 4th. All voters will receive a ballot in the mail and have several options to return their ballot conveniently, including a postage-paid envelope. You can also vote in person at any vote center and have access to your ballot in an accessible format, as well as receive assistance in multiple languages. Be sure to vote early and avoid the lines. Learn more at elections.saccounty.gov or call toll-free 1-800-762-8019.
For more than 4 decades, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort has been trusted by home and business owners for their professional expertise in heating, air conditioning, and solar energy. Your home is your castle, and at Sierra Pacific, we thank you for 40 great years of trusting us to protect your castle. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, solar, heating, and air. SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
Always love talking to Sean Salisbury. Awesome. Been a good show. Phone calls, 916-779-0929. You know, Ryan, I got to be honest with reading some of the messages on our various platforms as it relates to John Morant is very mixed, but I'm just blown away that there are some, and I'm looking at a message from the 916 saying, it's funny, Grant, says that this guy got a second chance for using his freedom of speech. He posted himself on IG with a gun, his freedom of speech. Grant posted All Lives Matter, his freedom of speech. What's the difference here? If you have to ask that question, then you don't really understand what's going on in Memphis with John Morant. It's not just about him waving his gun on Instagram. Like, if you think that's the only issue and that's what we're talking about here, then you're really not educating yourself on the big picture of Morant. It's not just what he did on Instagram. And not only did he get suspended once after talking to the commissioner, but shortly thereafter, he got suspended again. And I don't know about you, but, you know, if I'm making $40 million a year and I get suspended for a quarter of the season or a third of the season or whatever it was without getting paid, I'm going to be on my best behavior to make sure it doesn't happen again. And then what happens? It happens again. And then we can talk about other repeated instances of complete disregard for the betterment of your team and the league. You're a head case. Rhino, I got to tell you, some of these comments just blow me away. They really do.
Well, it tells you the money, which usually is the most powerful thing for many of these athletes, does not matter to him. Losing that much money, like you just laid out, it's not enough to stop a pattern of behavior. Now, I get from a fan standpoint of this team, you look at it, you hear his name, he's a star, you immediately go to Richmond and you say, well, he was a little bit troubled. It's more to me of a fan base that's thirsting for that star. Look at when Tyrese Halliburton had success this past season in the finals. What did we talk about for months? We rehashed the Tyrese trade and we let that star go. So I think that you try to put, or some fans try to put the lenses on to make Ja look a little bit better. But when you see how he's acting now and just trying to force his way out, there's a better way about doing it. I mean, you could almost argue Jimmy Butler was a little bit more professional, and look at that saga and how it ended up playing out.
Yeah, great point. If you want to talk about this, 916-779-0929. Don't forget, tomorrow, right after the game, we will be on YouTube with the post-game show, the Kings and the Warriors. Tim Roy, the voice of the Golden State Warriors, joining me tomorrow. We'll talk about what's going on with them. They have a game tonight at home, so they've acclimated themselves to the Pacific time after their road trip, which most recently had them playing in Indiana against the Pacers. So they're back home. They're back on schedule. And then tomorrow, they will be in Sacktown right here, taking on the Kings. And Rhino, you're going to the game tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I
Great.
will be there. Be
Looking forward
messing
to it.
with the Warriors fans.
Yeah, be careful there. Be careful. Yeah, absolutely.
No,
There'll be a lot of them.
If you're a Warriors fan, I will not be messing with you, but I'm looking forward to it. I think that's always a spirited game, and
Yes, it is.
it should be on the surface an exciting game.
I would agree with you. I think it's going to be a heck of a game. Tonight at 7 o'clock, I'm going to be on YouTube. So 1 hour after I get done here, I will be over on YouTube if you don't like that, and we'll have our Open Forum Tuesday show that is coming up tonight at 7 o'clock over on our YouTube channel. If you don't like that. So I am very much looking forward to talking about more of this and the NFL and all the free agent moves coming up today that are in the books now. All right, it's a couple of games. Toronto leads Milwaukee 61-45, 3 minutes left to go in the half. Atlanta 6 up on Orlando first quarter. Boy, Philly is rolling. This is a big score right here. This is a big game. Both these teams, Rhino, are 5-1, and Philadelphia, are you ready for this? With 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go in the first quarter, Philadelphia already has 43 points on the board in Chicago. With 1 minute left to go in the first quarter, it is 43-23, 2 5-1 teams playing in Philadelphia. VJ Edgecombe, all right, 8 minutes played so far. He's got 6 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. Tyrone Maxey already has 12 points. Joel Embiid has 7 points. And with 43 seconds left to go in the first quarter, the Philadelphia 76ers have 43 points on the board.
They're hard to stay in front of. We
Yes.
talk about the Kings not keeping people in front of you. The NBA right now cannot keep Maxey and BJ in front of them. Really quick, I want to go back to that comment about free speech and waving a gun on IG. Grant, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you sign an NBA contract, there's a code of conduct that has to be followed, just like any other employer, if you, depending on what you do. And so it's not so much a free speech thing, it's you're violating the terms of your job.
100% correct. It is in complete violation of your contract. But then here's the other issue with him. So that happens, which is bad enough. And then he can't even make it through the year, and he's getting suspended again.
Yeah. Yeah. And a commissioner, and this is at a time where gun violence, guns at the forefront of a lot of people's minds, the commissioner still continues to give him chance after chance. Again, and I wonder, do you think it's a product of being in Memphis? Do you think it's a product of the people around him?
No, it's not a product of being in Memphis. Why would that be a product of being in Memphis?
Because everybody's talked about it's a rough area around the arena.
No.
Okay. So I'm going through, I'm trying to go through a process of elimination.
Okay.
So it's not Memphis. Is it the people around Ja?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it has a lot to do with his upbringing, the people around him. The fact that he, to me, without knowing him, does not handle discipline very well, that he wants to be his own guy and do what he wants and does not want to conform to what is needed to be a professional at this level. I mean, I think it's a whole bunch of things. I don't think it's the crime in Memphis. I don't think that's the case, but he's got, it's not the gun waving on IG, which, okay, let's just say that was the only thing that he did. I'd be okay, no big deal. He was at a club, maybe he was drinking and he got stupid, and okay, I'm going to live with that. I'm going to give him a second chance because I'm like, that's fine with me. But then it just continues on and on. And at what point do you say enough's enough, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe that's why some of the fans here in Sacramento go back to, well, he's only been in Memphis. Is it just a change of scenery?
No.
Has he just burnt himself out there and burnt every bridge that he has?
The biggest misconception in sports when you have a problem child is that it's the organization's fault. It's the biggest misconception in sports. It's not the organization's fault. I mean, we used to hear that all the time about Cousins. Well, the Kings didn't do this. You know what? Nonsense. Nonsense. The Kings bent over backwards for him. They did everything that they could for him. They went out of their way for him. I mean, they did everything. They actually went overboard with it. I mean, it couldn't be further from the truth. Oh, well, it's the culture. Oh, well, they kept on changing coaches. Yeah, why do you think that was? Why do you think that happened? Okay? I mean, we can go on and on. It's not the organization that they're playing for. It's the personality. It's the makeup of the individual. It's not the organization. It's the biggest misconception in sport. By the way, Philly ends the first quarter with 45 points, 45-27 at the end of one.
2 less than Milwaukee against the Kings.
How about
45
that,
is
huh?
pretty good, though.
How about that? And then we saw a game last week where the Clippers only had 30 points in the second half total.
Yeah, crazy. Do you think this will last with Philly? Or is this just a good run?
If they stay healthy, meaning Joel Embiid,
yes.
They have a dynamic backcourt already. I don't know about you, but I've always loved Kelly Oubre Jr.
Yeah.
I think he's just a tremendous role player. And, there's a surprise team every year in the NBA, right? Why can't it be the Philadelphia 76ers?
Good point. It's a very good point. Orlando down 5 right now to Atlanta on Peacock without Trae Young as well. Orlando,
Yeah, Trae
Grant.
Young's out several weeks, so we'll monitor because they are in town next week. He's not going to be in. Trae Young will not play in that game. But as you said, the Hawks and the Magic first quarter, 28-21. The Raptors have a big lead over Milwaukee of 66-47 with under 2 minutes left to go in the first half. Pelicans and Hornets underway. I can't imagine there are many people watching that game in New Orleans, 31-27. We told you about the Suns and the Warriors who will be here tomorrow night. And then the Clippers and the Thunder. You know, the Thunder aren't going to go 82-0, but they looked as good as they did last year. And the Clippers, to me, are a team that, man, they're kind of teetering with just falling off the mountain here. I look at the way they've played in some of their really lopsided games. They've been embarrassed in a couple of games already this season.
You know, I don't want to go too far with this, but Kawhi doesn't look right to me.
No.
And I know that he hit a game-winning shot. He's played decent, but he just does not look right or comfortable. And that team's kind of on the edge when it comes to age. If you're relying on Harden, I think it's a team that probably, if they're going to improve, needs to make some moves in the deadline.
A couple of text messages from the 209. Grant, I agree with you on Morant. You're the only one in Kings media who's going to tell it like it is and have a standard of accountability and professionalism. The guy has had second, third, and fourth chances. Big ups to you and your program. Thank you, Daniel. 916 chiming in. Here's the bottom line. Currently, Ja cares about Ja more than the team he's on and winning. It's obvious. How does that change when he changes teams? It doesn't. Also, on the basketball side, how often does he play 82 or close? Not much recently. Hard pass. No thanks, Kurt. Thank you for the messages. You can message me as well at 916-779-0929. Final segment of the show. Let's get some phone calls, some more text messages as we wrap it up on a Tuesday right here. The Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports Traffic as we take one final look at the roadways for this Tuesday evening. Those earlier accidents have been cleaned up, which is some good news, but you're still dealing with some heavy rush hour delays, especially on top of the town freeway, I-5, Cap City Freeway, and US 50. Every major artery has some heavy rush hour delays throughout the Sacramento area. So definitely give yourself some extra time as you make your way out of the office and head home. With Twice an Hour Traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Hey, it's Grant Napear for Village Financial Group. I have known broker owner Spencer Grimmenstein for 25 years, ever since he began his family-owned business. Whether it's a home equity line of credit or buying or selling a home, Spencer is a very creative financing specialist with access to private money. Check out Village Financial Group at bfgloans.com or call Spencer at 916-805-4868. Be sure and call for the investor special. And if you go to their website, vfgloans.com, you can find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. Folks, Spencer is awesome. Trust me. Again, I've known the guy since 2000. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Call 916-805-4868.
Ready to turn your idle equipment into cash? Purple Wave Auction is your solution. We specialize in no-reserve online auctions, bringing nationwide buyers to your doorstep. From excavators to dozers, we'll market your assets to a vast audience of eager buyers. No hauling required. We photograph and list your equipment where it sits. Experience our transparent and simple process with expert support. Join successful sellers who trust Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com today to learn how easy selling can be.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant use disorder. Complex family dynamics, financial strain, and cultural expectations can weigh heavily and become a tipping point for those battling the physical and mental effects of addiction. But the holidays can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. They're a chance to take stock of what we have and are thankful for, to remember what's most important to us, and to consider what we can change. The holidays are a time of hope. So this holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the support and company of family and friends, and create special moments. Get started by finding a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org. Find a proven treatment option that's right for you. Recover you at choosechangeca.org. That's choosechangeca.org.
Final segment right here on the Grant Napear Show. 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. As we take you up till 6 o'clock. Remember, if you missed hour number one, it will be replayed at 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock tonight, I'm over on my YouTube channel, if you don't like that, with my Open Forum Tuesday. Tomorrow, right after the Kings and the Warriors, be sure and join us again on YouTube for the post-game show. Again, 916-779-0929. All right, let's talk a little bit about the game tomorrow. We'll do that again tomorrow, but without even knowing what the Warriors are going to do tonight against the Phoenix Suns, we thought the key matchup against Denver was the inability to guard Aaron Gordon and, of course, Nikola Jokic, but we thought the biggest mismatch on the floor was Gordon, and it proved to be that, and then Nikola Jokic did what he did. What do you think about tomorrow?
I think you probably have Precious on Jimmy Butler, and you need a heavy dose of Keon Ellis on Steph Curry. If there is one battle to really zoom in on, it's one of the funnest battles to watch 4 times a year. Keon and Curry. They go back and forth. Incredible basketball.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm curious to see how Jonathan Kuminga is going to play. Where it was rumored all summer that he would be coming to Sacramento, and he's really played well in the early part for Golden State.
He has. He's been playing with a lot of confidence, hasn't been afraid to get to the rim, still able to shoot the three a little bit. So, yeah, he wanted to be here. He's going to be coming to the G1C.
Yeah, I think it's highly unlikely that we're going to see a lot of Precious Achiuwa tomorrow. I mean, the Kings didn't practice today. The guy hasn't been on a roster, and now you think he's going to be playing against Jimmy Butler? Like, I don't think that's practical. Maybe a couple minutes, but I don't think he can play that much tomorrow.
Okay.
I mean, do you disagree?
I mean, it depends on the player. It depends on the shape they've kept themselves in. You saw Jay Crowder start a game.
Yeah, true.
And he was much older than Precious is.
Good point. And he played well.
Yeah, I mean, let's assume that Precious is off the bench and limited. Who are you starting tomorrow night if you're Doug Christie?
Well, I'm not starting Precious Achua. I'm not starting a guy that hasn't had practice. I'll bring him off the bench, but I'm not starting him. I'm
Okay.
just not.
I can agree with that. So he's out of there. Who are you starting?
I'm not starting Russell Westbrook either. I mean, if I have to go with a different lineup, I'll do it. And obviously, it's not going to be Isaac Jones, but like I think Doug's really fallen in love with Westbrook. I think too much so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start him tomorrow against the Warriors. Like I don't know. I guess we'll just wait. I know I don't normally say I don't know, but in this case, I'm like I don't know.
I think you start Keon tomorrow night. You let him play a little bit bigger. You let him do some switching, and you roll it out there. You go small. Golden State's not going to have a big problem with that. Keon can switch on to Jimmy once in a while. You don't want him playing him full time. You got to ramp down the minutes a little bit, though, Grant. I'm looking at the minutes leaders right now. 6 in the NBA. DeMar DeRozan, 36 minutes, 59 seconds. 7th, Zach LaVine, 36 minutes,
Same as last year.
57 seconds. Yeah. Sabonis, he's 19th, 34 minutes, 37 seconds.
And I'm going to wait for the injury report tomorrow on him. You know, the Kings didn't practice today, and he looked like that shoulder was bothering him more and more as the game went on last night. And I don't know what happened with the shot to the midsection. I don't know if that was an abdominal situation or a rib or what have you, but I want to see what his status is for tomorrow.
The telecast was saying, and it wasn't a confirmed report, but he was reaching at the ribs. I'm a little more worried about the ribs than I would be the shoulder.
Yeah.
Because if you've ever cracked a rib, even if you have bruised ribs,
It's a real problem.
It's really painful.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll know more tomorrow after the Sacramento Kings shoot around. But, you know, he's not on currently today. They didn't have practice. And I would think Malik Monk would be available tomorrow as the Kings are back home. So I'm going to say that he'll be available tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors. And they need him against the Warriors. He's perfect for playing against the Warriors.
Big time. They need that spark of offense. That's what they were missing those last couple of games.
Yeah, said from the 253. I don't know where's the 253 from. Thank you. No thanks on Morant. We had Knucklehead Cousins on the team before. They can both go play in China. Yeah. I think Cousins is playing in Mongolia, isn't he?
I thought it was I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I think it's Mongolia. I didn't even know they had a basketball league in Mongolia.
He was, well, okay. It was either Mongolia or the Philippines, and then it was, no?
Not the Philippines. He was over in Puerto Rico.
Right.
He might have been in the Philippines prior to Puerto Rico.
Right. I was going to say Puerto Rico next. I think it was Philippines, then Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and now I believe Mongolia. Could you find Mongolia on a map if I put the globe in front of you?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Absolutely not.
So on the latest injury report as of actually just released about 20 minutes ago, Cardwell is out. Zach LaVine, questionable injury, illness, lower back soreness. Keegan, we know, is out. Daquan is out. Two-way player. Domantas Sabonis, injury/illness, left rib cage contusion. So it is the ribs.
And listed as questionable?
Questionable.
Okay.
Golden State has not submitted their report yet.
Yeah, well, they're going to play tonight, so we'll wait and see how that goes as they take on the Phoenix Suns. So not a great way to start a homestand, right?
No. We should have never had that conversation before the Kings training camp started. In
About
what
who the
order?
Kings could not afford to lose? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we kind of put the whammy on this team, didn't we?
We put the radio whammy on them.
Yeah. Tomorrow's style I think is perfect for Nick Clifford. I think he could have a big game tomorrow.
It's an excellent point. He looks like he's starting to get more comfortable out there.
I would agree with that. And I think the flow of the game tomorrow is going to be really good, and it will be a big thrill for him to be on the court with Steph Curry. And I think there are times he'll be on Steph Curry.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
You think we'll see Devin Carter play tomorrow?
I think you should see Devin Carter play tomorrow. especially with the Warriors on a back-to-back. These are the games where if I'm Doug Christie, I'm going 11 deep and I'm throwing waves at the Warriors. I'm just constantly putting fresh bodies on the court and wearing them down.
Congratulations and good luck to Sac State tonight as Mike Bibby begins his tenure with the Sac State Hornets. So good luck to them. By the way, the 253 is in Tacoma. Thank you, Tacoma. Appreciate having you here on the show. That's the nice thing about the app, the Fox Sports KSAC app. You can download that app and you can take the show wherever you are, whether it's Tacoma, whether it's Miami, New York, wherever the case may be. You're good to go with the Fox Sports KSAC app. But back to Mike Bibby, as an exciting time for Sac State basketball as Mike plays game one of his Sac State career.
Yep. Good luck, Bibbs. Hope it goes well. I got to say, the university and Mike have done a fabulous job of marketing this team, both across social and other platforms, and really giving you a good inside look to the program, making you feel like you're part of it.
I'm with you. And good luck to Jim Les and the UC Davis Aggies. Good to see former Kings, both head coaches. Of course, Jim's got a much larger resume as a coach than Mike, who's just starting out at Sacramento State. So great. Yeah, I love it. Good stuff.
Who you taking in a 3-point shootout between Jim Les and Mike Bibby
Les in
right
a heartbeat.
now? Right
Not
now?
even,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, Jim could still shoot the rock. Even Mike would probably acknowledge he would probably give the nod to Jim Les. Now, if you told me Jim and Peja, I'm going with Peja.
All right.
But if you're talking Jim Les, Mike Bibby, and I love Mike, he's one of my favorites, but I'm definitely taking Jim Les over Mike Bibby in a 3-point shooting contest. Jim's one of the best 3-point shooters I've ever been around.
Something about that lefty stroke.
And here's the other deal about Jim Les. He was first team All-NBA practice player. Every day he was the best player in practice. And he had a nice NBA career, but he didn't carry his great practice play onto the floor. So he was fun to watch.
What do you mean he didn't carry it onto the floor?
He didn't play it in the games the same way he played in practice.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, you have a couple of those guys. Every team needs that first team all practice player that usually doesn't play in the games. But then, as you said, sometimes there's the guys that it doesn't translate to the game.
Yeah, a big fan of Jim. I love watching him play. The one thing about Jim, boy, did he compete. I mean, he competed on every single play. I don't ever recall doing a game that Jim Les played where, and here's the other deal. I covered him in college at Peoria, at Bradley. I covered him and Hersey Hawkins. When I was working in Illinois, I covered Dick Versace, was the coach of the Bradley basketball team, and the backcourt was Hersey Hawkins and Jim Les.
It's a pretty good college backcourt.
No, it was a great backcourt, and that place was crazy up in Peoria. I'd been there to cover Peoria a couple of times, and it was a tremendous atmosphere. Again, Dick Versace, big-time coach, with that backcourt of Hersey Hawkins and Jim Les, who both, and they're great friends, both went on, and Hersey's a great guy. Both went on. Hersey had a better NBA career than Jim, but, Jim got the most out of his NBA career, and he is he's a great, great person. I'll get Jim on the show next week. We'll talk a little UC Davis basketball.
That would be awesome. Would love that. That was back when college basketball was pure and innocent.
Yeah, and guys played 3 and 4 years
for the same team.
Yeah, you didn't have one and dones for the most part. You went to college, especially in Bradley. I mean, they were really good. Standing room only at that arena in Peoria, and it was great. My other great memory of Peoria was in 1986, and the Giants were playing the Denver Broncos, and I could not get that game on the satellite dish at the TV station in Decatur, Illinois. So I had to call around and find out where that game would be on. And I found out it was on in Peoria, and I drove 2.5 hours or so and walked into a Sears department store at the mall in Peoria. First thing I did, I walked into the TV section, turned on all the games to the Giants game, and I stood there for 3 hours watching the Giants and the Broncos.
Only
George
you.
Martin, he picks it off and goes 78 yards for the winning touchdown. And, of course, the Giants would beat the Broncos a couple of months later in the Super Bowl. All right, tomorrow, Back at it at 3 o'clock. 7 o'clock tonight, YouTube, if you don't like that. My thanks to Jerry Reynolds. My thanks to Sean Salisbury. And most of all to you for supporting the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Sacramento. Bye-bye.
Cameron, I just think we need to, see other people.
Are you trading me in?
No. A trade-in is what I'm getting from Kitchen Mart.
A trade-in.
Right now, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 credit when you trade in your old kitchen countertops for something worth showing off, like granite, marble, or solid surface.
I'm not worth showing off?
Not like the stunning new quartz countertops Kitchen Mart just installed for Karen and Tom.
Huh.
Durable, easy cleanup, made their kitchen look brand new. And Kitchen Mart gave them a $750 trade-in credit to haul off their ugly old tile and grout countertop.
You're dumping me.
That's harsh. You want me to wait till I get the new countertops from Kitchen Mart?
At least hold off till Wednesday. I'm seeing Susan.
Susan!
Now's the perfect time to trade up to beautiful new quartz, granite, marble, or solid surface countertops. Because for a limited time, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 trade-in credit for your old countertops. Go to kitchenmart.com today and schedule a free in-home consultation and save $750 off new countertops.
No one does it better than KitchenMart.com.
Are your lights flickering more than a disco ball? Tired of your office coffee maker and server room fighting over that one working outlet?